when he found a mysterious chest on the floor of a ruined wooden cabin the very moment he woke up and touched it. Blue Star was gone, and 8 billion humans were stranded. On the mist continent, suddenly the Azure Treasure Chest cracked open with brilliant green light. Across his face, inside was an elite Homestead Spring pouring sweet water. That raised his constitution with every single sip. Eventually, a tiny tiger cub named Big Orange grew into a massive elite saber-toothed tiger. This ordinary office worker had built a whole kingdom. Before we go any further, make sure to like and subscribe to keep the story going. To get here, he had to start with absolutely nothing. Let us look back at that first morning. A voice, without gender or emotion, poured into his head, congratulating all the survivors on at least being alive. The mysterious voice explained this was the Mist Continent, and that Blue Star sent everyone here right before its final destruction. From this moment on, they would live on this land until they died. It told him to use wisdom, the greatest of human virtues, because status, bank accounts, and old-world luxuries meant absolutely nothing here. It told him the dilapidated and tiny wooden cabin around him was his only shield for survival. Blue Star was gone, stranded in the mist. Countless questions piled up like bamboo shoots after a spring rain. Just 1 second ago, he was watching the grand New Year fireworks, the biggest display of the entire year. The largest shell burst in the sky right when his vision went pitch black. The next second he was here. He forced himself to breathe, waiting for several long moments until his racing pulse finally slowed down. The crude cabin around him had gaps wide enough to slide a leg through, looking more like a thatched hut than actual shelter. The wind was damp and freezing, carrying the terrifying roars of beasts he never wanted to encounter. He pulled his trench coat tight, trying to pretend it actually helped, even though he knew it did not. The voice cut back in before he could think any further. It called them humans who should have died with their home planet and demanded they face their new reality. The voice laid out the rules one by one. First, the cabin was their only foundation to avoid lethal weather, wild beasts, and the unseen horrors lurking in the mist. Survivors had to gather materials and upgrade their shelters. Second, night was when native monsters hunted, and night lasted for most of the day on this continent. They had to guard the precious hours of daylight. Third, the extreme climate alone was deadly enough to kill any human, so everyone had to face the brutal weather head-on. Fourth, the communicator at his side was the only way to contact other survivors, trade with them, and learn about the environment. Finally, Blue Star had spent its remaining power to leave everyone a starter gift, so they had to cherish it. The voice concluded by saying they were no longer the dominant species, but weak and helpless, meaning their only hope was to stand together. He pressed his hands against his temples and sat in silence, letting the reality sink in. Everyone from Blue Star was stranded here now. Suddenly, a faint light in the dark room caught his eye. He crouched down to pick up the communicator, a sleek slab about the size and shape of a tablet, yet made from an unrecognizable material. It was seamless and warm to his touch, a high-tech device that obviously required no charger. A standard stone axe lay beside it, the communicator labeled. A crude stone axe crafted by primitive methods, low sharpness, easily damaged and barely usable, half the output for twice the effort. He tosses the axe aside and taps his communicator awake. The first thing popping up is a local weather page. Today is clear, 8 to 15 degrees, sunrise at 10, and only 7 hours of daylight. The system warns this brief warmth is just the calm before a freezing cold current, so he must hoard survival supplies fast, even knowing the days are short. Seeing the brutal numbers laid out like this makes it feel real for the first time. The screen reads 9:05 in the morning, just under an hour until light, so he explores the system further. Suddenly, the human chat channel grabs his attention. There are world, regional, friend, and private channels. The global chat counter sits at just over 8 billion people, which matches old Earth's population exactly. Meanwhile, the regional chat counter shows 4.8 billion, the exact population of Asia. It seems Blue Star sorted everyone by continent. Interestingly, the regional chat also lists distances between survivors, and the shortest gap he can see is over 50 kilometers. The math is brutal. No cars, no planes, barely any daylight, and a 50-kilometer minimum just to reach his nearest neighbor on a continent swallowed by thick fog. Finding another living soul will be an epic quest. The world chat is already a screaming wall of panic when he opens it. Strangers are howling for some prankster to Confess, someone named Sanch begs President Wang for forgiveness, while a man asks if this is an alien invasion or a massive film set. Another tells him to shut up and just accept reality. A third warns that something is scratching at his door right now. What can he do? Soon, the entire tone shifts from denial to family searches, since usernames default to real names with no edit option. Half the feed turns into people frantically searching for their lost families. He knows his own message will immediately drown in this massive flood, but he sends it anyway, begging his parents to private message him the moment they see it. The interface locks him out for a minute, showing that he has only 5 daily messages left. He makes a mental note to save 1 or 2 for emergencies. What the channel reveals to him, mostly through careful observation, is that everyone's clock matches his exactly, no time zones, and the entire population of Blue Star is trapped here. With their old home destroyed, there is no going back. Only this communicator's tiny, familiar glow in the freezing night. He scrolls, people propose forming alliances, but others immediately roast them because the massive minimum distance between them makes settlements physically impossible. A guy complains about getting transmigrated right at the start of the Lunar New Year, just as he reached his hometown, never even seeing his family. Meanwhile, another brags he was getting a massage at a club and had already taken some pill, so at least he stays warm. A commenter jokes that his burning passion will help him resist the cold. Someone else reports it is already 0 degrees where they are, asking how bad this upcoming cold front will get. This continent is clearly massive enough to have completely different climates across different regions. He watches the screen for a long time, noticing famous people scrolling past, politicians, celebrities, and business tycoons. All of them receive the exact same Azure Treasure Chest invitation. Soon, the global chat begins finding its rhythm. Experienced survivalists start sharing crucial wilderness tips. No one knows if their old Blue Star tricks even apply on this mist continent. He reads every single word. As an e-commerce operator with 60-hour work weeks as a corporate slave mean his hands-on survival skills are basically 0. Because of that, he needs every bit of theory he can find. Searching for a chair, his communicator light sweeps the empty room. Suddenly, his foot kicks something solid as he moves. He drops into it. Crouch, and the sight of it completely freezes his panic. He really loves Blue Star. An Azure Treasure Chest, special grade, a gift from Blue Star's own foundation, the last care their home planet gave humanity. The note says, any item can drop, with randomized qualities across 3 grades: common, elite, and excellent. The chest is pure blue, about the size of a nightstand, right where he would have stepped on it 5 times without noticing. He mutters a prayer and snaps it open. Green light blooms across his face, pure hope. His gaming instincts flare, knowing a colored drop is definitely not common grade. The light orb inside reads as an elite grade Homestead Spring eye. It is a miniature spring flowing 300 milliliters of sweet water daily, with a slight body improving effect. The orb remains sealed for exactly 1 hour before he crushes it open. Clean water beats food in survival because a person dies of thirst in 3 days but starves in 5 or 6, so he crushes the orb on the spot. The spring eye materializes on the dirt floor, a round stone the size of a watermelon, shaped like a millstone with a groove and a small center hole. The outer groove is already brimming with 300 milliliters of clear water that overflows. He leans in and takes a long, sweet sip. A faint, clean fragrance washes over him, something he never knew water could be. After a few mouthfuls, his whole body feels lighter, as if a heavy weight was lifted. Meanwhile, as you can imagine, the world chat is already entering its second wave. This time they are discussing chest rewards. Someone got a family bottle of cola and complains. Another user says he only got a single raw potato and tells the cola complainer to shut up. A third person announces he got bread. The cola guy snaps that bread is nothing, so the bread guy posts a photo showing his cabin floor carpeted in 100 loaves. Another got only an iron pickaxe, a common item reforged from scrap iron, with its only merit being sturdy. Another player corrects him that an iron pickaxe is great since the system's stone axe will not mine stone at all and barely cuts wood. Then, the chat absolutely detonates. A user named Hio Ajin posts his chest reward. It is a flame burst great saber of excellent grade, a weapon fused with the continent's magic. Extraordinarily sharp and accompanied by flame, the note says that even an ordinary person holding it can fight against danger. The chat completely loses its mind. Someone asks if this is all a game. But another snaps back that it is not a game, nor is it the reality they knew. After Hyoajin's saber, a cascade of excellent items follows from other lucky survivors, explosive poison mushroom seeds and plant grenades that explode on contact spreading over a 10-meter radius. Next is an assault jacket. Blueprint, a reusable plan whose grade scales with the used materials. Fog-piercing goggles of excellent grade, made from special crystals that negate the mist up to 50 meters. Those fog-piercing goggles are the ones he cannot stop staring at because they tie directly to their central survival mysteries of this world. Then, someone posts a light tank design blueprint. It requires 1,000 iron and 50 beast hides for a 20-ton tank. The poster notes they have neither shells nor fuel for this beastly combat machine. It is useless to whoever pulled it, even built 99% of. Humanity has never sat in a tank, let alone driven one. The blueprint teaches him a harsh truth: an excellent grade does not mean practical. It completely kills his envy of the others, his elite Homestead Spring. I is far more useful than any tank. His communicator reads 950. In the morning, the stubborn knight, which felt impossible to shake, finally pulls back. It retracts like a curtain, revealing the hidden world beneath a bright sky. He peers through the cracks of the cabin wall before opening the door. Low grass, scattered trees, and sloping terrain. He thinks he is on a mountain. The communicator buzzes against his chest. The miscontinent announcement welcomes every survivor to day one, promising that iron treasure. Bronze chests will drop today. One iron chest is guaranteed nearby. Every shelter as a starting gift. There is also a stark reminder that a bitter winter is coming. They must hoard these chests. A brutal winter is no joke. Before taking a single step outside, he inspects his cabin. Shelter status: dilapidated wooden cabin. 8 square meters, barely shielding wind. In rain, it is totally uninhabitable. Upgrading requires 100 wood and 50 stone. The system is honest. This upgrade must happen today. That is the goal for everyone. The alternative is a freezing shack that wears them down before the beasts do. Meanwhile, world chat explodes. Once again, a guy stranded in a barren desert asks how he is supposed to upgrade. Another survivor in a vast prairie says he has not seen any wood, only a few llamas, and another person tells him to hunt them. The prairie guy fires back that these llamas are larger than cows, asking how he is supposed to take them down with a stone axe and a Disia battle cry. Hyoajin chimes in that he is surrounded by endless forest. His saber is already thirsty. Tucking his communicator away, he skips the endless idle chatter. His focus is purely on safety. Grabbing the stone axe, he slowly pushes the door open. No mist exists within 100 meters, exactly as promised. This level 1 safe zone extends 100 meters. The thin mist starts at 200 to 1,000 meters, holding manageable danger before the thick fog zone. Beyond 1,000 meters, reduces visibility to 0 with extreme danger. Without fog-piercing goggles, survivors are capped at 1,000 meters. He moves downhill away from the shelter, knuckles white on his axe, crossing into the thin mist. He chops a mark every 100 meters because visibility in the thin mist is limited to a couple hundred meters, and getting lost would end him. The forest is completely silent except for his breath and pants rustling the weeds. 900 meters out, running water echoes reaches him. A river means fresh water, fish, and a place to wash. Even with his spring eye, he won't refuse extra water. He pushes forward. A body of water comes into view near the thick fog, but the breeze hitting his face smells entirely wrong. Salt fish, the sea. He is on an island. The realization hits hard. If he is truly isolated, finding another survivor is highly unlikely. Even if someone else survived, he would likely never cross paths with them. A sudden wave of crushing loneliness washes over him before he can shake it off. But there is no time to dwell. Survival comes first. He heads back, taking a different path. His first path had 0 chests, and that Azure chest earlier showed him the massive rewards waiting. Now he needs food. A harsh winter is coming, and his stomach is running on borrowed time. With winter coming, his stomach is on borrowed time. Then a blue-green glint catches his eye. It is a bronze chest high up a tree. He only spots it because the path goes uphill. That old Counter-Strike joke about players never looking up almost cost him a chest. He jogs over and finds a tree bearing 2 massive coconuts, easily the size of winter melons. Right beside them, a bronze treasure chest is sitting directly on one of the branches. A double jackpot, he tucks his crude stone axe into his waistband and starts climbing. Finding his footing, he kicks the chest down first, then readies his axe for the coconuts. The dull stone blade is so blunt, it takes 7 or 8 hard swings per stem. Both coconuts thud to the ground. Now, it is time to inspect that bronze chest. Only survivors can open it. Other creatures stand zero chance. 3 common items, 2 elite pieces, or maybe 1 excellent drop if he is lucky. His hands tremble, he lifts the heavy lid, and a brilliant blue light erupts. As the glow fades, a single thumb-sized bead is left sitting at the very center. A single, incredibly rare drop. The system identifies it as an excellent grade water purification bead. This legendary item can turn any liquid into pure, pristine drinking water. 100 milliliters every single minute. Even better, the water's original beneficial properties get a massive boost. He lets out an excited shout. Just when he thought seawater was completely useless, this happens. Having this natural purifier means his spring water will get even better. His spring ice water is going to taste incredible. Without wasting time, he acts. He empties the chest, jogs to the shore, and scoops up seawater. Dropping the magic bead inside, he immediately starts the system timer. The system labels the salty ocean water as common grade and completely undrinkable. With 2,500 milliliters inside, it will take 25 minutes, so he heads back. He leaves the heavy coconuts behind for a second trip and returns to his wooden cabin. By the time he arrives, the water is already successfully upgraded to elite grade. The salt is gone, but the essential minerals and healthy trace elements remain. According to the system, it even has a highly valuable antibacterial property. It also acts as an anti-inflammatory, common ocean water turned elite. On this harsh continent, infections are the second biggest killer after the cold. Having medicine on hand is a lifesaver. He drinks some and rubs the rest on a scratch. It is a fresh scrape from climbing. Next, he places the bead inside his spring source. He wants to see if upgrading this already pure spring water makes it even stronger. Since seawater jumped an entire tier, this should be wild, but he cannot stay and watch. The round trip back to the tree takes a solid 30 minutes, and those coconuts are heavy. He is forced to haul them back one by one, while his remaining daylight quickly shrinks. During the trips, he scans the forest and spots exactly 1 more coconut tree nearby. It has 3 more coconuts, but harvesting them is a problem for tomorrow. With less than 3 hours of light remaining, he cracks open a coconut and gasps. It is surprisingly little meat, barely 2 meals, but the inside is. Brimming with coconut water, he wolfs it down and heads back out to chop. Half an hour of hacking away at a thigh-thick tree yields only 16 units of wood and a soaked shirt. He collapses onto the trunk to breathe, 16 wood. For 30 minutes of brutal labor, his back is already screaming, and the math says he will get maybe 30 wood an hour. That means 3 hours minimum for 100 wood, and that is before factoring in rest and hauling it back. Most survivors will waste 4 of their 7 daylight hours searching for food and water, leaving only 3 hours for wood. It is barely enough. No choice, he gets up and chops. 20 minutes later, he has 14 more wood, terrible numbers. He plans to trade water for better tools. On the market tonight, suddenly he stops. A missed detail finally clicks. The system announcement said 1 iron treasure chest is guaranteed. Near every shelter as a newbie gift, that bronze chest he found. Up the coconut tree was something else. Now, this is where it gets interesting. An actual iron chest is still out there waiting for him. He spits on the cut tree. Manual labor is for suckers, he decides. He is going chest hunting instead, yet he still drags the logs back. Because years of corporate overtime have wired him to finish every painful task. He is wheezing by the time the wood is stacked. The old grind has ruined his stamina. With barely an hour of daylight left, he moves fast. Gulping some coconut water, he heads out. The front area is already cleared. The left side is his logging site. This time he ventures right, looping around the back. He desperately needs that chest, or maybe some stone for vital cabin upgrades. Instead, the silent forest offers nothing but dense trees and tall grass. A creeping mist dampens his skin, leaving his face slick with sweat. His clothes stick, something is off, a massive tree is snapped. Cleanly at 2 meters high, the break looks fresh, maybe 2 days old. He scans the shadows and creeps closer. The wood is heavily shattered, not cut. Looking closer, his eyes widen. A giant palm print is pressed deep. It is human-shaped, but the massive scale is absolutely terrifying. The creature must stand at least 3 meters tall, a beast that can shatter trees with a single slap, has been wandering near his home recently. A savage creature, he cannot rule it out. His heart hammers hard. His mind races with fear. He forces a slow, deep breath to calm down. That knowledge gives him a chance to plan, instead of dying surprised. Spotting these tracks is the only real warning he has in this dark place. Dead silence, the oppressive atmosphere alone, is starting to feel like real danger. With only 30 minutes until total darkness, he loops back toward his cabin. He loops behind the cabin, no tracks, no signs of the chest. Leaving the damp mist, he sighs at the sheer futility of the search. Finding a nightstand-sized chest in this massive forest feels like a joke. Suddenly, just a few meters from his wooden cabin, a dark metallic glint catches his eye. There it is, sitting right against the back wall. Hidden in plain sight, he had walked past it the entire time. Since the previous bronze chest was hidden high up on a branch, he expected the next one to be just as hard to find, but the system literally placed this newbie chest right at his door, an iron treasure chest, survivor exclusive, holding 3 common items. With a small chance for one elite drop, he lugs it inside. The cabin door clicks shut. Behind him, the absolute panic from that giant palm print finally fades a little. Inside, it is pitch black, with only the communicator's soft glow cutting through. He peels off his damp trench coat. The shelter remains freezing cold, but his frayed nerves are finally settling. After today, time for loot. That bronze chest earlier only gave him a purification bead, but no food or warmth, and the extreme temperature drop on this island ignores blue star physics. It was 10 degrees Celsius at daytime, but the weather forecast for the evening warns of 2 to 5 degrees Celsius and falling. The bitter cold, paired with wet clothes, makes him shiver. The iron chest opens. None of that colorful, flashy fanfare. This lowest-tier chest has zero flair, but he digs through its 3 items. A thin, folded quilt takes up most of the space, with 2 glowing orbs sitting right on top of it. But incredibly warm and soft, he quickly peels off his wet hoodie, wrapping himself in comfort. Before crushing the orbs, 30 wood and 30 stone, no food but resource stacks. He had absolutely no other way to get stone on this barren island. He spent 1 whole hour of manual labor chopping just to get 30 wood earlier. He looks around the cabin to take stock. Logs 4 or 5 meters long are stacked along the entrance, 60 units total, taking up half the floor. 20 brick-sized stones sit right next. Opposite the door, one holds over 25,000 milliliters of water, while the other holds drying clothes. His Azure chest is tucked under him as a stool. 2 giant coconuts sit in the corner. One half-eaten, a millstone-shaped spring eye rests next to them, holding the purification bead in its groove. The spring water has upgraded. Changed before the bead, the sweet spring water was elite grade, yielding 300 milliliters a day for slight physical upgrades. Now the system rebrands it as excellent grade spring water. The good stuff just got even better. Drinking it boosts his health. The system even adds a cheeky note, joking that his mother never has to worry about him getting sick again. Looking at his tiny hoard, he feels pretty good, but there's a catch. No food, coconut meat barely cuts it, and a real meal would change everything. He opens the communicator. The world chat is buzzing with life again. 7 hours of daylight versus 17 of pitch darkness makes this channel the only escape from real loneliness, longing, and sheer panic. Stacking up on this mist continent like nothing back on Blue Star. A student begs for someone to send fried chicken and soda. Wishing to be beamed home, another guy, playing the first emperor, demands pork trotter rice as military rations, promising future nobility too. Any supplier who helps, another voice tells everyone to stop talking about food because it's making everyone starve, but someone else warns that food isn't the biggest threat. That scratching creature is back. A self-appointed advisor tells the terrified survivor to take a quick peek through the door crack, joking that even Sedekako could be won over. Get put on maternity leave. Then some guy posts that he is by a river near a sweet potato patch with food and water sorted, while trying to drill fire too. Roast them. The chat explodes, completely wild. They accuse him of stepping in dog poop he could find stranded on a cliff. A guy begs him for water. Offers wood. Someone calls him their father, but another user clarifies they Are only 19, he just lurks and reads. This is his only relief on this harsh continent, but something is missing, and after a moment he figures it out. He edits a post, attaches a photo, and writes that he had a pretty rough day, too. Just 2 giant coconuts the size of winter melons, saying he will somehow scrape by on coconut meat and fresh coconut juice. He uploads the photo and the replies flood in with endless question marks. One guy accuses him of bragging and threatens to crawl through the cable to hack him. Another user calls him father and begs for a cup of coconut juice while adding a crying face. His mouth twitches upward, honestly showing off like this feels incredibly satisfying. Besides, quiet wealth. Not work on this missed continent anyway. Nobody is around to plot against him. And little bragging gets him some emotional fuel tonight. Most survivors are doing much worse than him, which brings a strange, simple human satisfaction. His night gets a bit easier. Soon the chat settles down as the jokes fade. Trading begins. 1 unit of wood for 100 milliliters of water. Who wants 5 portions? Others demand 2 wood for 100 milliliters, then 3. A voice cuts in asking the bidders to stop driving prices up, since plenty of survivors spawned right by rivers, meaning the water supply will be practically endless, but the market is total chaos, pure panic. People worry they won't get water by nightfall, while greedy resellers hike the prices on purpose. Then, someone drops some terrible news. The trading platform caps everyone at just 3 transactions a day, buying or selling. He quickly checks the exchange and confirms it. This limit is absolutely brutal. People in prime spots who hope to coast on their massive natural resource piles run straight into a brick wall because owning an entire river won't exempt them from chopping their own firewood. This harsh cap immediately births a new profession in the chat: scalpers who waste trade slots reselling water in tiny amounts. Brutal strategy. Most survivors lack any containers, but everyone starts with 2 empty chests, which can hold roughly 5 liters of water. The chat quickly fills with shouts offering 1 treasure chest of water for 200 wood. Some complain that nobody has that much wood right now, but sellers fire back that with over 8 billion survivors, there are always lucky hoarders with deep stockpiles. After those first bulk sales, the secondary scalpers demand 150 wood for half a chest. Then third-tier scalpers step in until an hour later. The crazy water rush cools and the channel shifts topics. He scrolls. He has enough water and isn't desperate for food yet. What he really wants is sustainable gear, a better axe, and a reliable weapon. Or traps. Honestly, sweet potatoes are actually quite interesting. Not just for immediate food, but for planting, since they survive in terrible soil and yield well. Long-term farming has to wait until he survives. The first week though, right now, upgrading his shelter remains priority 1. Wood has officially become the local currency. Everyone is armed with a basic stone axe and collecting it. Wood acts as the baseline currency. He is about to list some of his purified seawater for trade when his communicator suddenly buzzes with a new message. The missed continent announcement opens. Congratulations on surviving day 1. It calls it a good start, then reminds him the extreme cold front is still advancing, warning everyone to gather critical resources. Every survivor received a standard iron treasure chest, but a few lucky ones got a second iron chest or even a bronze one. The lucky survivors with extra today is over 56 million. The number who pulled a bronze chest is nearly 2 million. For everyone else, the system issues a task. Anyone upgrading the shelter before midnight gets a useful tool pack. Tool gift pack. The chat detonates. Talk about instant drama. Those expecting equal loot are absolutely furious. One guy laments wasting his whole day chopping wood instead of pacing his perimeters, pacing his territory. Another points out that even 56 million chests is still under a tiny 1% of the total population. The unlucky majority remains massive. One player chiming in tells the lucky winners to spare them the insults because the rest are doing just fine. Another laughs, saying they almost forgot this world chat has foreigners. Then the lucky bronze chest owners chime in, humbly boasting it is nothing special. He reigns in his ego. Nearly 2 million bronze chests means he is no chosen one. He must compound his early lead, not coast on it. Right then, a new wave hits. The chat begs the lucky winners to post their drops so everyone can see. After a brief silence, the descriptions land, leaving him completely stunned. It is the Tiang Gang Big Dipper Formation Core. Excellent grade, an ancient, legendary defensive Formation integrating fences and defense. It generates a 20-meter radius. Barrier once deployed, it reduces the impact of cold currents. Gales, dust storms, and earthquakes inside. It even deals minor damage to any invading beasts, offering solid protection. The attached system note reads your territory, your rules. Soon, the owner of the core posts in chat using the handle Huang Gaon. He greets everyone, claiming he owns both the defensive formation and those excellent grade fog goggles from last night. He is not bragging, though. He wants to start a survivors association. Humans must stick together on this harsh continent. He posts that members can swap valuable info and gear, but he is only recruiting elite, high-quality allies. That means survivors holding rare materials or vital secrets. No freeloaders allowed. Clearly, Hang Jae-dong is leveraging this moment with two excellent grade items and a charismatic pitch. He is already building a power base. If he had not discovered that massive palm print, he would not have cared about defense or weapons. Without proper prep, if he actually faces the owner of that print, even a 1 in 10 survival rate is fantasy. With his purified water, he could easily buy his way into Huang Jiang's association, but he prefers to watch from the sidelines first. There will be other alliances soon anyway. More items hit the chat as he ponders. A shelter expansion. Scroll of excellent grade. It increases shelter space by 10%, scaling with territory level for a single use. Next is a space bracelet, excellent grade, carrying a 20 cubic meter pocket space hidden inside. Its description: no more struggling to carry resources. Beside it sits a healing potion. An elite grade blueprint showing the recipe to craft healing potions. Highly effective on both internal injuries and deep external wounds. It even treats common illnesses. While all three are great, that space bracelet rules. It basically turns him into a 10-wheeler cargo truck. Excellent grade items keep rolling past. They draw admiring cheers from the chat channel, quietly stabilizing everyone's morale. The Mist Continent is incredibly dangerous, but these powerful items offer real hope. Following Hang Jiang, more leaders start forming factions, including some former officials. These are former officials from Bluest Star. He thinks it over and declines. Factions that cannot meet face-to-face will never be solid. Even when his boss sat 10 feet from him at work, people still slacked off. Factions can be useful, but they can never be relied on. The only thing that survives here long-term is personal strength and holding enough resources himself. He can stay on good terms and cooperate with whatever factions form. He just cannot join, because the second he joins, he will start treating them as a safety net and forget to be his own. A bitter winter is coming, and it will take a deadly swing at humanity. The system giving away so many free excellent items does not ease his mind. Talk about creepy. The system is being generous because it expects most people to die. He plans his next move. He wanted to sharpen his axe first, trading for better logging tools or basic weapons, but the system's task overrides that because the practical tool gift pack is too good to pass up. He is 40 wood and 20 stone short, without pickaxes around. The price of stone is several times wood. He plans to trade 50 milliliters of purified spring water for 20 stone, and 2 batches of 50 milliliters of purified sea water for 20 wood each. Spring water improves and conditions the body and is excellent grade. Naturally, its value is high. Purified seawater is anti-inflammatory and antibacterial, making it broadly useful. Ideally, he trades 40 wood at once to save a slot, but he cannot count on it. The system's task has driven up the price of wood and stone. Almost nobody is buying speculatively. Now, only out of immediate need, he decides to post the spring water first. To gauge reactions, he pours the leftover juice from the cracked coconut into empty box for later, then uses the stone axe to break the coconut shell into 3 pieces he can use as makeshift water cups. He lists a post in the world chat, offering 50 milliliters of purified sweet spring water, pure, natural, and pollution-free. Drinking it conditions the body and enhances physical strength. Want to wear your underwear on the outside like Superman? Message him with your bid, priority given to stone. Meanwhile, in private messages, the daily greeting limit is 1 per recipient, but the total cap is wide open. A person with the energy could message 10,000 strangers within 3 seconds. His inbox detonates. 5 stones for 1 portion. Deal, he tells himself. He would rather trade his foot. Another begs, saying 10 stones is their entire worth, please. Sell to them, someone else offers original scent stockings since they do not have stones. No. Photo attached, zero sincerity. Another offers 15 stones, a polite question. Asks how he obtained the spring water, then one handle catches his eye. Hang. Ding, he writes that he has no stones but can trade other useful items, and that 50 milliliters is not enough. How much does he have? The top-ranked player is in his inbox. He strokes his chin, staring at the spring pool, which today produced a full 300 milliliters since he drank early. He still has 200 left. He asks the man what he is trading, and the reply comes instantly. Fog-piercing goggles of excellent grade, goggles made of special crystals. They offer basic vision correction and 50-meter mist negation. He rubs his eyes to be sure. He is not seeing things. The guy is putting an excellent grade item up for a consumable. Both items are excellent grade, but a reusable tool tied to this world's central mystery is not equal to a single bottle of spring water. Unless his head is caught in a door, the seller knows the math. So he is not stupid. Then why list the goggles? Honestly, it makes you wonder. But he wants those goggles regardless. He messages back that the item is great, but he must prioritize trade slots on shelter upgrades for the gift pack. Can they trade tomorrow? The seller replies that he needs the water, urgently offering to throw in some key information. Our guy looks back at the spring water's description: constitution improving body conditioning. Drinking it sooner or later barely matters and won't save a life. If Huang Jiediang were injured, a healing potion would be much better. He replies that information is too vague. If the seller wants to brush him off with worthless lines, there is nothing he can do. They should wait until tomorrow. But the seller quickly replies with the secret first, promising it is real and highly profitable. To tell the truth, he writes that the Tiang Gang Big Dipper formation was not obtained from a chest. That actually startles him. The formation was always way too strong for a bronze drop. He had assumed heaven-defying luck. He says fine. But on top of the information, the seller must answer one question. He asks what question. Our hero demands the information first. The seller agrees, writing that besides the newbie iron chest, every survivor has a second reward, but it can only be obtained inside the thick fog zone. Once a survivor enters the thick fog, the reward comes to them on its own. He adds that since visibility in the thick fog is basically zero, a survivor absolutely needs an item to handle the mist, or they will get lost right next to the exit. So fog-piercing goggles are incredibly crucial to every survivor. And he is getting a massive deal. He asks the seller why, if the goggles are so important, he is not keeping them. The seller asks if that is his question, and he replies that it is not. The seller then claims he cannot answer that and has shown enough sincerity. The old fox is keeping quiet. The moment he posted the goggles for trade, our protagonist had a guess. Something happened in that fog, not some treasure, but danger. He cannot or will not enter the fog again, making the goggles completely useless to him, at least in the short term. That is the only reason a top player would trade goggles like those for spring water. The fog zone reward is likely real, though. Wealth is found in danger, and despite the risks, it is worth a shot. He agrees to trade, but the seller still owes him a question. The man agrees, so he asks why he is in such a hurry for the spring water. This is the question he actually cares about, because that urgency hints at a hidden use of the water. He does not. He knows that learning this will upgrade his spring water to the next level. The trader goes silent so long he thinks the guy logged off. Then a long message arrives. This trader notes he can tell the young man wants the goggles, but limits block him. He needs to upgrade his shelter first, and the trader shares another crucial detail. A level 2 shelter unlocks 2 friend slots, which makes trading much easier. Friends can do 1 extra trade each day, so he should definitely upgrade his shelter first. After that, they can add each other and swap the spring water for those goggles. But he can only wait 30 minutes because other survivors are offering similar items. As for the questions, he promises to answer them once the transaction goes through. The young man takes a moment to think and decides to agree. His analysis shows the goggles have limited uses for some unknown reason. But he definitely wants them, and honestly, who wouldn't try to secure those materials? Heading back to the world chat, he bundles his spring water, sea water, and coconuts. He advertises these premium survival resources as a complete package deal. 1 giant coconut covers food for an entire day and water for 2. He is only trading them for wood and stone on a first-come basis. This time the replies are serious, but the results are quite surprising. The spring water and sea water are actually less popular than the coconuts. Most buyers offer 20 to 30 wood per coconut, which makes complete sense. On day one, food and water are everything, a rule we all know too well. Just as he is picking buyers, a private message from a tycoon pops up. The user is Wang Ixin, offering 200 wood for all 3 items. Offering 200 wood means this man must already have a level 2 shelter. The tycoon confirms it casually, saying a level 2 shelter is nothing special. Since there is no item cap per transaction, bulk trading is much better. Still, he never expected someone to drop 200 wood in one go. He realizes he cannot underestimate anyone here, since everyone has unique opportunities. Asking the tycoon if he has any stone, he gets a quick yes. He proposes 100 wood plus 30 stone, and they seal the deal. His upgrade materials are fully secured, leaving him with an incredible surplus. He asks Wang Ixin where he gathered such a massive stockpile of resources. To maintain a long-term trading partnership, he suggests adding each other as friends. Wang Ixin agrees, asking if the young man can supply coconuts every day. He admits he cannot, but promises a daily supply of enhanced spring water, along with his antibacterial purified seawater, which are premium healing items. He asks if the tycoon can keep up, but Wang Ixin just sends an item. It is an excellent grade nimble steel axe. Despite its size, it is incredibly light and automatically assists when swung. The sharp blade fells trees easily, while the blunt end breaks down stone. It is a perfect tool for gathering resources and a decent emergency weapon. Wang Ixin explains that his spawn point is surrounded by trees and rocks. He fells trees in 2 swings and smashes out 8 stones in 5 hits. This makes long-term trading completely effortless for him, leaving the young man entirely speechless. While he is still struggling to upgrade his shack, this tycoon has infinite wood. He immediately declares him a brother and asks him to wait for the trade. He accepts the friend request, gets a quick reply, and packages up the coconut, 50 milliliters of purified seawater, 50 milliliters of spring water, and lists the trade. A soft ball of light arrives, and 100 wood and 30 stone fill his cabin. His crumbling 8-square-meter wooden shack barely keeps out the harsh wind. Upgrading requires 100 wood and 50 stone. He has 160 wood and 60 stone. He triggers the upgrade, and a soft white light bleeds out of every single crack in the cabin, melting away the dark like soft moonlight. The drafty holes glow with a warm amber light, and a new house stands ready. It features thick, warm brown wooden planks held together with seamless, solid joints. The dirt floor is now polished stone tile. He officially reaches level 2. His shelter is now a 14-square-meter wooden house, perfect for temporary rest. But these basic materials are still pretty vulnerable to extreme weather conditions. It is still unfit for long-term living and has no facilities yet. He can build a kitchen for 50 wood and 20 stone, adding 6 meters. Complete with a simple stove and iron pot, a restroom costs 30 wood and 10 stone, adding 4 meters and a nice fireplace. This upgraded cabin can hold 2 of these structures, and only after completing them can he upgrade again. Reaching level 3 requires 200 wood, 200 stone, and 100 iron. He only has 60 wood and 10 stone left. Still, he gets real windows. They are just sliding wooden planks instead of glass, but honestly, who would complain? The cabin also comes with a square table and 2 stools, but no bed. At least there is a lounge chair, giving his sore, exhausted body a break. He finally sinks onto it, wrapping himself up in his cool summer quilt. He props his feet on the wooden stool, taking in the sudden quiet. It reminds him of peaceful childhood nights, resting outside after a hard day's work. Suddenly, his communicator buzzes. The system congratulates him for upgrading his shelter. It tells him he has officially earned a slight chance at long-term survival. A special practical tool gift pack is immediately delivered to his inventory. His safe zone expands from 100 to 150 meters. The thin mist boundary pushes back from 1,000 meters to 2,000. Friend slots open up, allowing him to trade and send unlimited gifts. But along with the features, the system leaves a friendly warning. Surviving alone is nearly impossible, but we all know that people are the real threat here. He must choose his allies with caution. A dose of reality sinks in. Only the players who upgraded on day 1 have any chance of surviving. But there is still plenty of good news waiting for him in this update. The massive expansion of his safe zones means access to way more resources. Plus, that special tool package is waiting for him on the table. A wooden chest materializes on the table, and he tears it open to find a novice saw. It is a cheap, mass-produced tool, but highly efficient for cutting wood. The downside is its low durability. He also gets an iron pickaxe. This common tool will let him mine stone ore. Finally, some matches in a heavy 4-pound quilt. He uses his thin summer quilt as a makeshift mattress. On the wooden chair, pulling the warm, heavy blanket over himself, tomorrow he won't have to chop with his broken stone axe and wonders if there is stone. He can dig in the newly opened thin mist zone, but stone is still hard to find. The 3 upgradable facilities are all extremely useful. Having a restroom alone would solve his hygiene problems, since going outside in the dark is just too dangerous. The kitchen offers a massive expansion and an iron pot, which easily beats his original plan of trying to rub sticks for fire and use a chest. As a pot, that chest is too thick to heat, but matches save him from that hassle like charcoal in a snowstorm. The living room is the must-have because it expands his cabin the most and includes a fireplace. Without reliable heat source, surviving the cold front is impossible. He can do without the toilet and find substitutes for a pot, but a fireplace is irreplaceable. Burning wood on a wooden floor inside a sealed cabin would only cause carbon monoxide poisoning by morning. He has 60 wood and 10 stone, enough for the living room. But not enough stone. Tomorrow he will search or trade with Wang Lixin instead. He looks up Wang Lixin and Huang Jidong in his private messages. To friend. Slots are open, he sends the requests, but Wang Lixin is currently busy and does not accept yet. Meanwhile, Huang Jidong accepts instantly, as if he was waiting for it, sending congratulations on the level 2 upgrade. He asks if they can proceed with the trade. There is an old saying about not hitting a smiling face, and he really wants those goggles. He agrees, but demands the answer to his question. Jidong says it is just his guess, but he will tell him whether it pans out. He lists 200 milliliters of purified spring water in a coconut shell. Jidong lists the fog-piercing goggles. They confirm the trade, the water instantly vanishing from his hand and replaced by a pair of goggles shaped like toad glasses. He puts them on, opening the window to peer into the dark. Pitch black, nothing to see. He closes the window and fiddles with them, half doubting they can actually pierce through the fog, since they look completely ordinary. Still, this new toy keeps him hoping for sunrise. Suddenly, the communicator buzzes. Huang Jidong writes that he saved his life. He raises an eyebrow and asks how. Jidong claims the spring water is actually incredibly useful, then confesses that his damaged body was completely cured by it. Those words catch him off guard. He had drunk some himself, and while the strength-boosting effect was real enough, a warm tingle and a decent physical boost, he did not notice any clear healing power. The minor scrapes from climbing the coconut tree were still on his hands. If Jidong was so badly injured, he asks, why not buy healing potion? Jidong replies that he saw the potion in chat, even trading 30 stone and 50 wood for a bottle, no effect. Before he can ask why, Jidong explains that he was not just injured, but get this, he was corroded by the fog. Fog corrosion. He explains that relying on those goggles, he entered the thick fog to explore, only to find the greatest danger of all was the environment itself. Within about a minute, he felt severe chest tightness and difficulty breathing, but assumed it was just nerves. Then the thick fog reward he mentioned appeared and delayed him for 2 or 3 critical minutes, making his breathing grow rapidly worse. Realizing the fog was toxic, he fled immediately. The moment he reached the thin mist zone, his lungs cleared, though another minute would have suffocated him. He cuts in to ask why he still needed healing. After escaping, Jidong admits he was horrified to discover a massive fog remained trapped inside his chest, slowly spreading through his body like a cold hand strangling him from within. Tightening as time slipped away, he formed the Survivors Association solely to find items to cure it. All 3 of today's trades went toward healing items with absolutely zero effect. Then he saw his spring water with its body-regulating properties and finally saw a real chance. He wasn't injured, so normal healing did nothing. What he needed was something to regulate his body. Even through the screen, the sigh of relief was clear. He apologized for hiding the truth earlier, fearing the young man would refuse the trade, but he told him it was fine. In his place, he would have done the exact same, honestly. Though if Wang Jidong hadn't brought it up afterward, the young man wouldn't have stayed in touch. Hiding details before a trade is just circumstance, but hiding it after shows true character. He thanked him with a warning. His spring water was likely renewable, meaning tomorrow he would probably enter the thick fog zone for the reward. Even with spring water, do not linger inside, grab the prize and run. The water isn't a miracle cure. He drank all 200 milliliters just to flush the fog after less than 5 minutes inside. The young man thanked him, understanding the risk. He signed off, calling him smart and looking forward to working together again. He dived into the exchange to use his remaining 2 trade slots before midnight, armed with a saw and pickaxe. He wanted self-defense gear for tomorrow's run, but he had no more coconuts, only 50 milliliters of spring water and some purified seawater, plus 60 wood and 10 stone. After upgrading, he felt like he was right back at the starting line. But here's the crazy part: over 95% of survivors were still stuck in level 1 dilapidated shacks, and most had nothing better than elite-grade gear. The exchange market was flooded with garbage. Things like disposable underwear, socks, and old pens, and those were the decent options. Someone was even listing toothpicks for 1 wood piece each. A market made of 8 billion people was pure chaos. Great items existed, but everyone was just dumping junk to scrape together building materials. Decent, excellent grade goods cost 30 to 50 stone, with wood costing 3 times more. Standard elite items went for 15 to 35 stone. He messaged sellers to see if they'd take his top-tier purified water instead. But most refused, desperate for building resources. They might want water later. Needed. By then it was 10:30 at night, leaving only 90 minutes until the crucial midnight deadline. Almost every single survivor was making a final push. His only realistic targets were the select few who had already upgraded. He had to shout in the world chat. He put up a new listing: trading top-tier water for some decent combat or defensive gear. Send a direct message if interested. Details on the premium water attached. The global chat was absolute madness, flooded with basic item trades. His post was immediately buried under the spam of the busy chat. A few scattered private messages trickled in, but none of them were useful. One offered a common iron dagger pitched as a stealth weapon. Its description boasted extreme sharpness, but for someone like him with 0 training, a tiny dagger was useless compared to a heavy pickaxe. Then came a second offer. It is a massive weapon that is surprisingly affordable. Just trade some purified seawater for concentrated 5-pace viper venom of excellent grade. Legend says bite kills within 5 steps, and this concentrated version is even deadlier. The poison is highly tempting, and he almost pulls the trigger on it. But is it really more practical than a solid blade for unknown monsters? No. He can't just pry open their massive jaws to pour poison down. If he could actually do that, he wouldn't even need venom. He could easily just slap them dead. This is for Special Forces veterans. They could coat a blade and make it lethal, but he is not that guy. So he moves on, scrolling through listings that easily beat the public exchange. A few items catch his eye, like an elite charcoal scroll for 20 stone. Only one is available, sold on a first-come basis. It costs 1 wood to make premium, hot-burning charcoal. Then there is a brown rope single bed with a 50 wood frame. It looks highly durable and comfortable, and includes natural organic fertilizer. That excellent grade organic fertilizer costs 30 stone and boosts growth. It boosts plants by 20%, and the current list variety is great. Right now these prices are cheap, but they are going to multiply very soon. Once the upgrade rush ends, wood and stone won't buy these items anymore. He wishes he could buy them all. What did weighing Xenon pull in? While he is sighing over his empty pockets, a private message pops up. It is from a survivor named Ho Ajin, who warmly calls him Big Boss. The man has rare items to trade in exchange for some spring water. That handle sounds familiar. After a beat, he remembers exactly who this is. This is the lucky guy who pulled a flaming great saber from his Azure chest. Honestly, who wouldn't want a flaming sword, but he surely can't afford it. Scrolling through the offered items, he realizes he was overthinking, but the shock remains. There is excellent grade bone corroding sand, 350 milliliters of it. Highly corrosive when exposed to air, along with an excellent grade glowing doll. Winding the clockwork on its back makes it emit a vibrant colored light. It attracts nearby monsters for 10 seconds. He also has a repeating crossbow. This excellent grade weapon fires multiple bolts in rapid succession. It has moderate power within a 30-meter range and 10 bolts, he replies quickly. He tells Ho Ajin to stop calling him boss, since Ajin is the real powerhouse. Ajin replies that since they both have excellent grade goods, he is the leader. He jokingly replies they are both big bosses and adds a laughing message. The other survivor matches his laughing energy, then gets straight down to business. He asks which of the 3 items he wants, with 2 more in reserve. He asks how he got so many excellent grade items. Did he rob the system? No, Ajin replies, he simply went out and killed monsters for them. That response hits him hard. This world has no friendly monster drop rates. What truly shocks him is the sheer strength this man must possess. He has not fought a monster yet, but rewards always match the risk. A creature carrying excellent grade loot is going to be an absolute nightmare. He did not just get 1 drop, meaning he killed multiple dangerous beasts. He asks what his new friend did back on Blue Star, and hears he was an assassin on the dark web, highly ranked, and the guy just laughs about it, are protagonists. Jaw completely drops. It is hard to believe, but looking at the guy's combat results, he has to accept it. He used to think dark web assassins were just fictional filler. That did not exist in real life, but then maybe real assassins are all just quirky like Heo Ajin, or maybe contrast is in fashion. He keeps going. He says he used to worry about his identity every single day as an assassin, keeping 20 or 30 fake passports and identification cards from all kinds of different countries. Now he can finally scream it out loud and laugh, clearly. The guy has been holding this in for too long. He tells the killer his items look decent and asks for time to think. Heo Ajin is completely fine waiting for response. The items are actually quite good. That bone-corroding sand has a low usage threshold and 0 skill ceiling. Just hit the target and the damage lands, which perfectly suits our guy who has absolutely no martial training. The repeating crossbow works the exact same way. No close quarters danger, just pure ranged damage. While the weapon might have a slight learning curve, the bone corroding sand is way more forgiving, since a simple near miss still hurts. That glowing Barbie doll sounds completely bizarre to him. He wonders if some little girl hacked the system to put this in. Otherwise, how could anyone explain a toy having this kind of practical function? It does not deal direct damage, but it is excellent for crowd control, basically granting him a second life, though it only lasts 10 seconds and is likely a one-time use. He wants all 3. His inner hoarder is screaming, but they are separated by too much distance to rob him, and even if he tried, he would easily lose. But remembering the venom, he opens direct messages. He finds a seller named Passerby A and asks if that highly concentrated 5-pace viper venom is still available. He needs it. That crossbow has opened up a whole new world. Sooner or later, combat is unavoidable, and starting from a safe distance is the smartest move. Crossbow bolts alone cannot pierce through medium or large beasts, but a coat of venom covers that perfectly. The reply is instant. It is still available. Seawater, he demands 200 milliliters, but our guy offers 150. He agrees, telling him to buy it on the market in 1 minute. Our guy stops to think, did he just get ripped off? No way, he needs to squeeze a better deal. He tells him to wait. Before putting it up, the seller asks what is wrong, saying a promise is a promise. He explains he is not backing out, but he only has 1 container, and after trading, he will be left with absolutely nothing, so he demands a spare container to make it fair. He is pretty proud of this clever move. If the guy has no container, he can lower the price even further, but the seller shrugs, throws in 2 extra containers and lists everything. Our guy buys the toxic fluid with heavy tears in his eyes. Suddenly, white light flashes. A tiny dropper-sized vial appears. It is the highly concentrated 5-pace viper venom, an elite legendary toxin that supposedly drops any target within 5 steps of a bite. This concentrated stuff is even deadlier. He also gets 2 wooden strips, crudely hollowed out with a pickaxe, which work perfectly as temporary trading vessels. With the poison secured, he opens up Heo Ajin's chat to speak with the killer. He finally makes up his mind. When the seller asks which one he wants, he answers honestly. He wants all 3. The man laughs, bundling them together for 200 milliliters of spring water. He smiles bitterly. He wants them all but lacks that much spring water. The merchant instantly accuses him of trying to freeload off him like a big shot. With a flushed face, he insists that freeloading is impossible and offers a counter today. 50 milliliters of spring water, and 100 milliliters of purified sea water for the doll. He tells the seller to hold the other two until tomorrow for a repeat trade. The seller hesitates, wanting to think. Still, he pushes the deal anyway. He warns him that even the bravest, most invincible fighter out there eventually gets hurt. Spring water is great, but 50 milliliters daily is more than enough for health. Purified sea water is different, offering instant effects. Its anti-inflammatory benefits make it perfect for sudden emergencies. Plus, with a solid trading relationship, he will never run short on water. After all, why would a regular partner ever have to worry about water shortage? The supposedly invincible warrior finally concedes to the terms, agreeing to do things his way. Amused that he only heard the flattery, he quietly completes the doll trade. The seller tries to add him as a friend, but his slots are full. He must reach level 3 to get more space. Right then, Wang Ixin's request lands. He immediately gifts the remaining seawater and container to Wang Ixin. The deal is for 40 stone, but the wealthy buyer is currently short. The wealthy financier pays 30 stone up front, promising to deliver the final 10 tomorrow. That brings his total resources to 60 wood and 40 stone. Unfortunately, nobody has any grain to trade, or he would expand his cabin tonight. This successful transaction officially uses up his 3 daily world trades and 2 friend trades. He exits the chat and sets the communicator on the table as a lamp. He curls up on his lounge chair under a thick, warm quilt. The young man sitting alone in the dim cabin lets out a soft, deeply reflective chuckle. Loneliness makes people sentimental. Back on Blue Star, he constantly worried about his future. Here on this dangerous mist continent, everyone only has themselves to live for. That sudden realization completely clears his head and fills him with a brand new resolve. Since he transmigrated, he might as well try to be the protagonist for once. First thing in the morning, he is heading straight for the thick fog zone. He figures at least 90% of what Huang Zhang shared is highly likely to be true. After all, the merchant had absolutely no reason to lie to him after their transaction. Besides, trying to ruin someone's reputation in world chat is completely pointless anyway. The Tyne Gang Big Dipper formation is vastly superior to any bronze drop. The warrior must have pulled that incredible item directly from inside the thick fog zone. Many other overpowered items shown in the chat likely come from there too. It is clear that Kwang Jae-dong is not the only brave survivor who ventured inside. He has to take risks to keep up with the top tier of humanity. Fortunately, his level 2 shelter feels like absolute heaven compared to level 1. The sturdy wooden walls are completely sealed, effectively blocking out all the freezing winter drafts. Feeling the cabin stay noticeably warmer, he pulls his quilt tight and prepares to sleep. With over 10 hours until dawn and no video games to play, he waits. Meanwhile, the world chat keeps scrolling with endless messages from desperate survivors. People complain, desperately trying to scrape together materials for a level 2 upgrade before midnight. While daytime on this continent is dead silent, the night carries the distant roars of savage native creatures. Everyone hides inside their shelters and waits for dawn. Exactly at 12 midnight, the communicator buzzes right on time. The upgrade mission ends. Rewards are distributed to over 7.7 million. People completed it, just under 1% of the total population. Congratulations on completing the mission, and please keep up the good work. The world chat trade. Traffic immediately dies down, turning into collective wailing. One guy was only 10 wood short, asking how. It is already time. Another had the trade finalized, but was just 1 minute short. A third was about to press upgrade when the timer hit 5 seconds away. A fourth chewed leaves all day to save resources, yet still came up short, asking where the others got their materials. Someone explains that Sweet Potato Brother sold water and sweet potatoes, and that those lucky with chest pulls already had massive stockpiles, meaning they were never on the same starting line. Someone bitterly curses their bad luck. Someone asks what was in that practical tool gift pack, and another player lists the saw, pickaxe, matches, and a quilt. A voice wonders if this means tonight's graders will gather resources even faster tomorrow, and a bitter response quickly confirms it. Someone vents about spending a full hour of failed fire drilling for nothing. Someone makes a crude joke only to get completely roasted. The night thins out and fewer people speak as most force themselves to relax and rest. Gradually, the sky brightens. The weather page tells him today is sunny, ranging from 2 to 9 degrees. Sunrise at 10 in the morning, daylight lasts 6 hours and 25 minutes. Climate trends warn of extreme. Cold air approaching. Players must collect sufficient survival supplies and warm items. His whole body aches. He rubs his shoulders and asks out loud what time it is, mumbling that he should not have overslept and needs to hurry to work. Half an hour later, he shoots up off the lounge chair. He has transmigrated, yet he is still thinking about work. That cursed corporate grind life has truly conditioned him. The lounge chair is also too short and stiff, and a full night on. It has left his every joint locked. He gets up, dresses, stretches, and does leg presses. Getting a real bed is crucial, or his body is going to break. Just over 10 minutes remain until dawn. He runs through preparations for the thick fog zone, the Homestead Spring. I has about 200 milliliters in the groove after 10 hours of accumulation. And since the purification bead was inside the whole time, the water is all excellent grade. The fog-piercing goggles and that glowing Barbie doll go with him. And the iron pickaxe goes too, so he is not unarmed. He puts his trench coat on. It is still damp from yesterday, but he has no other clothes. He will have to wait for Wangax and Stone to come in, build the living room, and get the fireplace running to dry it. Then the sky goes from ink to bright in 5 or 6 minutes flat. Just before he leaves, an idea hits him. He tears a strip of cloth from his hoodie, soaks it through in the spring eye, and tucks the wet strip into his pocket. At 10 on the dot, he opens the wooden door. A cold wind hits him. Yesterday's high was over 10 degrees. Today, it has dropped straight to 2 to 9 with a shorter day. A small sense of unease lingers, since daily changes on this continent are brutal. He tightens his coat and heads left, since those palm prints were on the right. Yesterday, the thin mist zone has expanded 1,000 meters after the upgrade, and he plans to scout for other resources along the way. The fog-piercing goggles he expected would clear the thin mist actually do nothing. The goggles only work in the thick fog zone. About 100 meters past yesterday's boundary, he finds a patch of bamboo. He could make containers of any size by sawing the sections, noting to come back before heading onward. This day is not as silent as yesterday. Insect chirps and bird calls cut through. Just shy of the thick fog zone, he hears rustling and turns. 2 or 3 rabbits are grazing. They sense him, lift their heads and lock onto him. He crouches instantly and slides the pickaxe off his waist. Calling them rabbits is pretty generous. Each one is the size of a medium-sized dog, and their front teeth are sharp, carnivore style. The communicator labels them snow rabbits, common grade weak herbivores with strong reproduction rates. Active at night and dawn, they stare each other down for over a minute before they decide he is no threat and bound into the thick fog zone. He exhales, wiping the cold sweat off his forehead. If those rabbits had fought him, he might not have won. Seriously, that was way too close. If he were still a corporate grind office worker, he would have lost the fight. The sweet spring water has been quietly upgrading his body, and after one day, his fitness is approaching that of a soldier. The thick fog zone is right ahead, according to Huangjiang. 100 meters in, the reward triggers on its own. No searching needed. He plans to make this quick. He steps in. The goggles heat up the moment he crosses the boundary, and everything in front of him snaps into focus. Wild flowers, grass, and trees grow rampantly, colorful vines threaded between them. The goggles only show 50 meters, so he marks trees as he moves. A nearby tree pings as yellow rosewood. Elite-grade wood with a faint natural fragrance, a slight calming effect, and hard texture suitable for construction. The resources in here are incredibly rich. Not far away, he sees the stone mine he has been wanting, also elite grade. After about 10 seconds, he feels chest tightness and shortness of breath. He does not panic. He pulls a cloth strip from his pocket, soaked in spring water, and puts it in his mouth. The discomfort vanishes the instant his tongue touches it. It actually works. His confidence jumps and he speeds up. At 100 meters in, a crimson flash, a dark redstone materializes, a round base with a diamond-shaped pillar floating half a meter above the base. 7 or 8 names are vaguely visible on the surface. Number 1 is Christensen. Number 2 is Oriana. Number 3 is Sioji Gang. Number 4 is Hangji Dong. There really is a reward. The system text reads Fogbreaker Totem, unknown. It appears only at the 100-meter mark. Inside the thick fog zone, only during the first 7 days after a survivor logs into the Mist Continent. The totem records the first 100 survivors who dared to enter. It evaluates a survivor's current overall comprehensive ranking among all peers, including shelter, construction, owned items, Food and resources. Reward tiers go from S for the top 1%, A for the top 5, B for the top 10, C for the top 20, D for the top 50. Start evaluation 60-minute. Countdown. The totem disappears when it ends. He hammers his own thigh. He did not expect an evaluation. Talk about a curveball. It is way too sudden. He turns and runs. The coconut trees by the sea hold 3 giant coconuts he has not collected. Yet if he can drag them back to the shelter and add them to his own. With these resources, his evaluation score should skyrocket. He opens his communicator while running. Beep, beep, beep. His big financier is online. It is an emergency. Wang Zhen replies. The young man asks if he has started mining stones yet. He needs 10 urgently. He laughs, and the big financier asks if he is collecting debts. First thing in the morning, he apologizes, promising to treat him to fresh coconut juice. Wang Zhen says he was cutting trees, but since his friend is in a hurry, he will go mine stones. It will take half an hour. He says thank you and sprints to the coconut tree. Climbing up to chisel down coconuts with his pickaxe. Only 15 minutes left, no time to think. He grabs 2 coconuts and runs for the shelter, not even noticing his improved strength. Another 15 minutes pass. With only 1 coconut left, time is running dangerously thin. He gets a sudden idea, runs back to scoop the last coconut, and sprints to the fog breaker totem. Holding it in his hand should count as an owned resource. Talk about a smart move. Right then those 10 stones arrive. He now has 60 wood and 50 stones, exactly enough to build the living room. He confirms the build without hesitation. With 5 minutes left on the countdown, he stands in front of the totem holding a coconut. Start evaluation, he commands. As he speaks, the totem rises a little further and emits a soft red light. 3 seconds later, the evaluation is complete. Current survivor reward tier S. He laughs, feeling incredibly relieved. The result is within expectations. The current maximum shelter level is only level 2. At most, someone built 1 more facility than him. He has 2 excellent grade items, 1 elite grade, and a bunch of common grade. Food and water all went to trades, but he does own 3 giant coconuts, so squeezing into the top 1% is barely enough. The real issue was building materials, since the living room build drained his last wood. For those 3 seconds, he was incredibly tense. Red light flies out of the totem and condenses into a prize draw box. Light orbs the size of ping-pong balls condense and drop into the circular hole on top. Most are blue. A small number are black, and a single purple one floats among them. S grade. Rewards grant 2 blind box draws. 90% are excellent grade items, 9% special. 1% excellent rank items. The system runs an evaluation for S+, but he has to rank high. Top 100 within the current tier. The evaluation succeeds and his chance of excellent rank and special items doubles, but the evaluation failed. Begin. Draw. He was excited at first, but reality hits hard. The competition is unreal. He has been coasting on luck, but truly capable people are out there. Still, luck is part of strength. Humility is good, but he cannot belittle himself. He really needs to move fast. The surrounding environment is starting to feel off, and things are starting to feel wrong. By now, he has been in the thick fog zone for almost 5 minutes, and the protective strip in his mouth runs completely out. Every uncomfortable sensation surges back. Like a tide, he reaches into the draw box. And just as he grabs 2 orbs, the entire box and remaining rewards dissipate. He stuffs the 2 orbs into his pocket and walks fast toward the thin mist zone. He can no longer catch his breath. The ordinary fog has changed, moving with a sticky texture while writhing slowly. Inhaled, it tastes metallic, fishy sweet, and makes his throat tighten. The worst part is a bone-deep chill that does not come from temperature but seeps straight out of his own blood vessels. He moves his feet faster. Just 20 seconds left and he will be out of here. Then he stops. The surroundings fall terrifyingly silent. The insects and birds from before are completely gone. Something is stalking him. The footsteps behind him are off by a single beat. 4 heavy footsteps for 3 of his own. He freezes in place. That mismatched step continues for a second before cutting off. The air chills. Dread settles over him. His body temperature is already crashing from the fog, but cold sweat still slides down his forehead. His symptoms worsen fast. He can barely breathe. He cannot let this creature follow him out of the fog. If it escapes, the nightmare will never end. He pulls out the glowing Barbie doll. Running out of breath, he has to rely on this doll. The spring click releases colorful light. With all his remaining strength, he hurls the glowing toy deep into the fog. 2 Seconds later, the footsteps shift toward the decoy. It is time to run. The toy only glows for 10 seconds, but that is enough. He keeps pushing. He sprints through the thinning mist, heading straight for the safety of his shelter. While running, he decides to gift the massive coconut to Wang Xenon. He only promised a single glass of juice. This is a massive loss. He has not run like this since a neighbor's dog chased him as a kid. He collapses on the cabin floor. Dignity is completely gone. He struggles. He drags off his goggles and downs 200 milliliters of purified water. That thick fog zone is pure death. Huang Jidiang must have superior gear. Because basic goggles only offer baseline vision, entering requires real protection. Even with his body enhanced by spring water, survival is a massive gamble. He kept a steady supply in his mouth, but 5 minutes was his absolute limit. Anyone else would perish in 3. Now he pulls out a common blue orb. Inside is an excellent grade, highly adaptable happy sweet potato. It is packed with rich nutrition and delicate sweetness. He just gapes. The massive crop sitting in front of him is the size of a monitor. Giant coconuts, giant rabbits, and now a sweet potato that means 3 days of food. Eating this whole thing would be a waste, so he will only taste a slice. Even without farming experience, he knows cutting fist-sized pieces can work as seeds. A sweet potato of this scale can easily be divided into numerous potential crops. Planting them around his shelter ensures a steady, reliable source of future happiness. This crop is actually far more valuable than the spring and the bead combined. It provides a continuous, massive supply of excellent grade staple food. If he can just survive until the first harvest, food worries are officially over. Those water items only buy him a small daily ration. What other secrets does this sweet potato hold? The system explicitly notes its rich nutrition. He remembers someone selling low-grade fertilizer in the global chat yesterday. It was too weak, though. He needs to track down a real growth accelerator. After roughly planting his new crop, he prepares to check the second reward orb. He jokingly offers to sacrifice his friends for a top-tier pull. Talk about loyalty. Poor Huang Jidiang and Wang Xenon are offered up alongside a piece of his pride. All of this just to secure a single excellent rank item. The moment his hand clasps the orb, a rare color flashes before his eyes. A system ding chimes in his head, confirming a successful transaction. He cackles. It is a special type item with a 9% drop rate. Not bad. He crushes the orb, only to stand there completely dumbfounded. He quickly explains to the system. That calling for Pikachu was just a joke, not a literal request. Still a yellow creature resembling an orange cat lies sleeping on the floor, its soft back fluff gently rising and falling. It is alive. The system identifies it as a saber-toothed tiger. Cub, a future feline leader with excellent potential, currently at common grade. Outstanding strength and speed make it basically perfect, except it cannot fly. In adulthood, this cub can reach excellent grade if fed high-quality meat regularly. This accelerates its growth. The system notes that while adults are mighty, cubs are cute. He is left completely speechless. This is not the surprise he wanted. The special item was supposed to help him, not become an immediate burden. What is he even supposed to do with it? Roast it. He barely has food for himself. He wanted a real power item to guarantee survival and resource freedom. That way he could retire in comfort, but this little creature eats meat. And high-quality meat at that. When he has not even tasted meat himself yet, he nudges the sleeping cub, telling it to wake up and become a mighty tiger king. The cub slowly opens its eyes, standing up groggily while shaking its ruffled head. It stretches its front paws and yawns. With zero alertness, how can this be a king? He points and lectures the lazy beast, but the cub finally notices him. It runs over and starts circling his legs, occasionally rubbing against his pants. He gently nudges it away, telling it to get lost because he has no food. The cub stops, flops down right in front of him, and rolls onto its back. With its belly exposed, he warns the cub that acting cute will not work. Yet 3 minutes later, he is holding the cub and laughing happily. He tells it to stop licking his chin since its tongue is too rough. Honestly, who could resist this? He tells the cub that they are partners now. He promises to treat it well, and the little cub lets out a happy growl. He plans to trade with Brother Killer tonight to get some fresh meat. The cub needs a proper name. Since it resembles an orange cat, he suggests Juicy. Instantly, the growls stop. The creature is clearly not satisfied with that name. A majestic beast deserves a grand title. After 5 minutes of deep thought, He offers Big Orange as an alternative, claiming the word big adds instant majesty. Back in his old world, putting big in front of titles meant greatness. The cub still hates it, but a gentle tap on its head seals the deal. From now on, it is Big Orange, agreeing only under absolute duress. Ignoring its reluctant protests, he instructs the cub to stay inside the shelter. He needs to head out quickly to search for more survival supplies. He sets Big Orange down and inspects the expanded 22-square-meter shelter. The main door is centered, with a sliding window and a new fireplace. A brand new chimney runs up the right wall, venting through the ceiling. Meanwhile, Big Orange is already tirelessly trying to climb the hot chimney. The basic furniture remains the same: a table, stools, and a simple recliner. There are also 2 empty chests, some coconuts, and a fresh spring. With 5 hours of daylight left, he must utilize every single minute. The front of the shelter faces the sea, offering a limited, albeit expanded, view. To the right lurks that giant-palmed beast, too close for comfort with no weapons left. Because of that creepy Barbie doll, he postpones exploring there. That leaves the back end. The left side, following the latest expansion, the back area remains a complete mystery. It was previously explored, showing zero danger and even a bamboo forest. Today, he will. He plans to scout the rest. With extra time, he might chop trees. He heads out fast only. Carrying a pickaxe and a saw, passing the bamboo, he begins fanning. Out in a wide semicircle, the bamboo sits 1,100 meters from his long hall of a shelter. He limits his search to a 500-meter radius. Unlike the barren fog, lush flowers and trees grow wild along the path. Weeds grow knee-high. Birds and insects fill the air. It is a shame this resource is so far. This bamboo forest alone offers endless wood. It might also find edible bamboo shoots. These thick stalks should conservatively yield 50 wood each, but hauling them back is completely impossible because he lacks a. Without a cart, that lucky survivor with the space bracelet must be saving so much labor. Over 1,000 meters in, and the vegetation changes completely. This mist continent loves defying logic. Then he stops, even with a chaotic climate. Plants need proper conditions: sunlight, water, and nutrients. Grabbing his pickaxe, he digs a small pit, then moves 10 meters to dig another. 30 minutes later, 10 pits surround him. The plants here grow wildly. Because of excellent grade soil, this is premium humus soil formed by decades of fermenting leaves and rich organic decay to feed the earth. It slightly boosts plant growth speed, a 300-meter radius of excellent. Such a prize does not show instant results, but the long-term benefit easily rivals an excellent grade item. If he can secure seeds, it boosts harvest rates. This excellent grade soil completely compensates for his lack of gardening skills. Plus, he just got that happy sweet potato and no idea where to plant it. Talk about perfect timing, even though although the crop is excellent grade and this soil is the same rank, sweet potatoes require almost nothing to thrive. 4.5 hours remain until dark. He rushes back to the shelter to grab chests for hauling, spotting several bamboo trees along the path. The heavy mist forces him to constantly check his markers. Each round trip takes 30 minutes. The wooden chests are the size of nightstands, and he carries 2 at a time. His physical strength has clearly improved from those morning. At the very least, he has the stamina of a fit adult male. The magical spring water has completely cured his weak, desk-bound office worker body. Even so, after making 3 trips, he is left wheezing right in front of the. Outside the window, he piles the dark humus soil. This amount should easily satisfy common grade sweet potatoes, but this weird continent never plays by the rules. He keeps moving. 3 more trips later, then he collapses onto the dirt. Big Orange hears him, runs outside, and happily curls right on his chest. Only 1 hour remains until total darkness. Today he has only eaten coconut meat. That makes 2 days without real food or meat. He desperately craves beef noodles, egg fried rice, and warm dumplings. All the comforting meals from his old life. After resting for 20 minutes, he struggles to pick up the heavy cat. Be a good boy and stay inside, he says, warning him not to wander off. The cat responds with a soft growl as he watches. He sends Big Orange inside and rushes to collect seawater in the last 40 minutes. Yesterday's half box is already gone. Today's haul was huge, but none of it can be traded. He needs seawater to purify for currency tonight, so he grabs 2 empty boxes. Trudging to the beach on exhausted legs, he watches the sun fade. Night arrives quickly. The pale sunlight vanishes in mere minutes as thick mist rolls over the forest canopy. It is thick enough to squeeze. Across the island, survivors scramble back to safety. Loud roars echo in the distance. The local monsters are finally waking up. Lugging the heavy seawater, he walks and rests, pushing his body to the absolute limit. He barely slips inside the cabin as Big Orange trots over, rubbing against his leg. He promises the hungry cat he will contact Brother Killer for some meat very soon. Putting the boxes down, he grabs the purification bead from the water spring. Dropping it into a 3-liter box, the water will purify in just 30 minutes. That is plenty of time for tonight's big trade, but wait, something is off. Where is it? Where is the precious spring water he was saving all day? He used last night's batch earlier, but he has not touched today's supply at all. The spring produces 300 milliliters daily, so where is the rest? There should easily be around 80 milliliters sitting right there in the container. He wanted to save 100 milliliters for his upcoming deal with Brother Killer. 1 second later, he knows exactly who did it. Big Orange, did you steal a drink? The cat just tilts its head. It chirps with total innocence, making him sigh at the shameless behavior. He orders the cat to come over, and it reluctantly slinks forward. Telling it to drop the sad act, he scoops the chunky feline up. He messes up its fur by petting it backward as a silly punishment. He watches the cat desperately groom itself back into shape, highly amused. Amazingly, it does not shed. He ruffles its coat again, ignoring its protests. Laughing, he lets the cat go and grabs a wooden spoon for dinner. He scoops out some fresh coconut meat, wondering how long this survival loop lasts. Sure, the coconut tasted great yesterday, but eating only this for 2 days straight. It is getting old. He has not even planted the sweet potato yet. With his new fireplace, he really wants to roast a sweet potato slice. However, cutting it might cause the rest to rot, destroying his main seed supply. He cannot afford that gamble. Instead, he pulls out his communicator to scroll chat. Instantly, a massive wall of private messages from Wayne Ionin pops up. The rich financier is begging, calling him Big Brother and apologizing for his attitude. He writes that he was wrong to complain about his outstanding debts. Wayne claims he deserves to die for being so incredibly impatient with him. He says the coconut is a beautiful symbol of their growing friendship. Wayne promises huge discounts in the future and begs him not to ignore him. He frantically asks if his big brother has somehow kicked the bucket already. Wayne even laments that the cruel world is taking away his only friend. Unbelievable, reading these dramatic texts gives him a pretty massive headache right now. This whole dramatic freakout started because he tossed Wayne a coconut while running away. He just wanted to lighten his own heavy pack during his escape. He never expected it to move him. He asks him what he is howling about. He warns his buddy not to curse him. Wang Ixin replies instantly. He thought his friend ran into danger and left him an inheritance. That big coconut was a parting gift, but he won't die easily. No way, then his buddy asks if he noticed the global population count. It fell below 7.8 billion. He quickly opens the world chat. Each channel shows active survivors, and those who died are removed from the tally. Many died yesterday too, but numbers that massive never felt real. Today is different. Just think about it, the first digits dropped from 80 to 77 in 2 days. Over 300 million people have lost their lives, weighing heavily on his chest. It feels like a boulder. He messages Wang Ixin, guessing those 300 million must be the elderly and young kids, but Wang Ixin replies that is not necessarily true, children. Under 14 entered with their parents, while the elderly had their bodies returned. To peak youth and all disabilities healed, our guy asks him who told him that. Wang Ixin says he browses chats when bored, and tons of people are saying it. It is likely true, which sounds like good news, but this coin has 2 sides. If the elderly and children actually have basic safety nets, then the over 300 million who died were actually healthy survivors capable of taking care of themselves. They did not starve inside, they lost their lives out there. Facing unknown terrors, this missed continent is far more brutal than he ever imagined. He tells Wang Ixin they cannot help others, so they must focus on their own. Survival first, then asks what he harvested today for potential trades. His buddy pings back. Happily, after leveling up his shelter and expanding his vision, he discovered a patch. Elite granite, these are special stones, originally just normal rock. Hardened and corrupted by the thick mist, making them tougher than normal stone. He tells him it is amazing loot that can massively upgrade his shelter defense. But when asked how many he grabbed, Wang Ixin grumbles that the mountain is too far. He only hauled one chest before giving up with just over 10 pieces. Our guy teases him, asking if he spent the day chatting, but Wang Ixin harvested over 800 wood. That makes him deeply envious. High-grade tools really make a massive difference. Normal players can barely gather 100 wood a day, but Wang Ixin is doing 8 times that amount. His only bottleneck is the nearby trees running out, forcing long travel times. Otherwise, those top-tier tools would net him over 1,000 wood. He offers to trade 500 milliliters of elite water for 200 wood. But Wang Ixin sighs, saying he would have chopped much more if he knew earlier. He asks if his buddy spent all 800, he only has 50 left, having promised a massive trade yesterday for a special tool, but he tells him not to worry because with this new gear, hauling elite granite tomorrow will be easy. What kind of item turns a guy into Superman? He says it is even better. An elite-grade spatial backpack. It uses space tech, but because it is immature, just 6 cubic meters, talk about a massive stroke of luck. He has been wanting a storage item just like this, while smaller than a 20 cubic meter bracelet. It is plenty. Only a wealthy resource giant could pull off this massive deal. Right now, in the end, he trades 500 milliliters of clean seawater with Wang Ixin for 50 wood and 10 granite, draining his inventory completely. Honestly, that top-tier water could have fetched double, but he does not mind helping out. He treats this as cementing their relationship. Suddenly, a new plan begins brewing. Careful thought is needed. His communicator buzzes. Day 2 was a success, but the true nightmare starts now. Extreme freezing air is fast approaching, forcing animals across the continent to hoard. A bitter winter is coming. Tomorrow, everything changes. Beasts near survivors will actively hunt, and monster spawn rates will skyrocket. Fog zones will become absolute death traps. Survivors must prepare their defenses immediately. When venturing out, they must slay any monsters they find to secure valuable chests. These drop chests only contain crucial gear like weapons, armor, and tools. Warm clothing is included. Tomorrow, gathering resources becomes incredibly lethal. The danger level spikes. He immediately remembers that massive footprint. He still has no idea what left that massive handprint right outside his home. Is it a savage, a skeleton, or some ghostly monster? He has no clue. He does not even know if this continent has supernatural forces. Everything so far feels familiar. Local flora and fauna resemble those of Blue Star, just scaled up with better effects. Even those massive orange saber-toothed tigers once existed on Blue Star long ago. The system tone has completely shifted. This announcement is a grim, direct warning. Surviving is about to get so brutal that the system is actively forcing their hands. To stay alive, he has to focus on his biggest weakness, hoarding food. Even native beasts must expand territory to hoard food. The coming winter will be devastating. He is 90% sure outings will be impossible. He will be completely trapped inside his shelter, forced to live off his hoard. But he needs warmth too. Right now, he only has a simple duvet and a heavy quilt. That is barely enough to survive an ordinary winter on Blue Star, let alone this nightmare. The world chat instantly shifts to the beasts, with survivors asking frantic questions. Some wonder if there are actually predators nearby, since they have not seen any yet. Others scoff. They warn that encountering one of these creatures is pure suicide. One survivor claims he tried warning everyone on day 1 about claws scratching his door. Now the doubters look incredibly foolish. Meanwhile, one lucky player scored a bow and arrow. He initially thought the weapon was useless, but now it is a lifesaver. Another desperate player challenges the beasts directly, claiming hunger would drive him to fight bears. Starvation is spreading fast, but others warn that fighting these creatures is pure suicide. If you cross paths with one, you are 99% dead. They are monstrously huge. One hunter killed a hyena today that was literally the size of a massive ox. Desperate survivors beg him for meat, but he flatly refuses their desperate offers. Food is far too precious now to trade for simple wood or basic stone. Brutal truth sets in. If they cannot secure high-calorie meals, they will freeze. The freezing nights will claim them first, long before the actual winter lands. Everyone agrees the cold is insane, leaving their hands completely frozen and stiff. The atmosphere in the chat is suffocatingly heavy, and honestly, you can feel his dread. There is no set date for the freeze, but it could strike in 10 days or even 5. Stockpiling enough provisions and warm gear in such a tight window feels entirely impossible. Foraging is useless now, and crops will never grow in time. Hunting is his only option. He must risk his life. Fortunately, he holds a single crucial advantage. His magical water purification bead means his survival water supply is completely secure. Survivors near the rivers must worry about drinking that water long-term. It might cause problems. He scrolls up and finds a user named Kugigang. He messages him. He saw in chat that he killed a hyena. Would he trade it for water? He attaches his seawater information. But here is the catch. Too many people are messaging him right now. He must be patient because high-grade water is vital for combat survival. While waiting, he checks his shelter options, with Big Orange around. Restroom is urgent, dealing with the hygiene of one man and one. Tiger and Iron Pod is useless. The kitchen offers 6 square meters. Compared to the restroom's 4, after adding a living room, the cabin is 22 square meters, and he really does not have much to store. The space is enough. Construction costs 30 wood and 10 stone. He has 60 wood and 10 elite stones. Confirming the build, a light appears. It is about 6 or 7 square meters wide. He checks his communicator. A prompt asks him to select a restroom location. The countdown is running. Panicking, he wonders how to select the spot. He frantically moves the light. Having a toilet in the center would be ridiculous. Luckily, the light reads his thoughts and snaps to the corner. The countdown finally ends. The cabin expands. In the corner, a 2 by 3 meter room appears, complete with a wooden door. Walking inside, he sees a simple table. On it sits the spring eye and 2 seawater chests. Near the wall is a cozy fireplace with a recliner. The left wall has a window. Next to it is the new restroom, with excellent soil piled outside. The 10 granite blocks make no difference yet, likely because the pile is too small. He rubs his cold hands, pleased with his cabin. He finally has a restroom and a fireplace, no more holding it overnight. Grabbing a piece of wood, he splits it with his axe and gets matches. From his gift pack, he lights a fire to stay warm. His coat is completely soaked. He peels it off along with his wet hoodie. Hanging them by the fire, he sinks into his recliner to let himself warm. Big Orange was sitting nearby, but backs away to avoid the intense heat. He laughs and notes the little beast is not even afraid of cold. Just as expected, the bright flames quickly rise and light up the cabin. The heavy darkness gets pushed back. Watching the dancing fire, he feels peace. For a brief moment, he forgets the thick mist and all outside dangers. He focuses on the heat. Suddenly, his communicator buzzes. Xiao Jiang replies. Xiao Jiang wants to trade, but get this, he demands a massive ratio. Specifically 1 jin of meat for 3 liters of water. Xiao Jiang is formidable. He is truly formidable. He remembers seeing his name on the fog breaker. Totem in 3rd place above Huangjiang. No wonder he killed that high-grade hyena. He must have powerful gear. Our guy replies that his water is also excellent quality, making a 1-to-3 ratio insane. A continent hyena has at least 200 jin of meat, and his purified sea water works perfectly. It is highly suitable for this tough situation. Xiao Jiang replies instantly, asking if he has ever even hunted. It is not easily acquired. A hyena weighs 300 jin, but the system decomposes it automatically, leaving him with only about 3 jin of meat. The system takes a cut. He writes back to question this. Sigong says that after killing a beast, a chest drops, and a strange substance called mist beads condenses, a mist bead of earth. Description of essence, condensed from the flesh and blood of native creatures of the mist continent possessing mysterious power. He asks what the item is for. Sigong replies that he is not sure, but it is likely useful later. Worried he might not trust him, Sigong adds another piece of information. Although his purified sea water is effective, all excellent grade, and above food on the mist continent will improve a person's physical fitness. A sudden flash of insight crosses his mind. That is why the happy sweet potato has no stated purpose. That is why the system specifically issued the global announcement urging survivors to hunt down beasts. This is fighting to sustain war. He has only 6 liters of seawater today, no way to store more without bigger containers. Bamboo makes decent cups, but it cannot hoard water. He wants to trade for more meat at once if possible because the long-term demand for purified water is relatively small. If he dumps 3 liters with Sigong now, he cannot trade with him for food again until he uses it up and even then only at common grade water prices. After a moment of thought, he writes back 1, 2. 3 is still too much. The value of purified seawater is far more useful. In food at specific times and also doubles as daily drinking water, Sigong asks him to name a price. After a fierce negotiation, he trades 5 liters of purified sea water for 2 jin of meat, adding the sea water he traded with the big financier earlier. He is down to 500 milliliters of water the moment the trade closes. 2 pieces of hyena meat appear on the table. Big Orange, who had been dozing, perks up like a cat smelling fish, completely locked on. He tells it even though it secretly drank the spring water, he still got meat. Pretty amazing, right? A happy noise. He generously feeds Big Orange a whole piece and takes the other to the fireplace. The top of the fireplace is a smooth stone slab, a wonderful sizzle. The hyena meat is firm, even fully cooked. He cannot separate the muscle fibers with his homemade chopsticks. He just uses his hands, blowing on the heat. Chewing heartily, honestly it tastes a lot like steak, without salt or seasoning. The unique aroma of animal fat and meat is enough to feel satisfied. 3 or 4 bites in, his body feels strange. Why is it so incredibly hot? His temperature rises fast. If he had a thermometer, it would read 42 degrees. His skin reddens. The cold air around him clashes with his body heat, emitting white steam like a man on fire. His first thought is poison, then he realizes it is the feedback from eating excellent grade food. His physical fitness is being enhanced. Previously, when he drank excellent grade spring water, a warm current surged through him with it tingling at the bones. If spring water is a gentle older sister massaging his body, hyena meat is a burly man pounding it with rough hands. The energy makes him unable to sit still. He paces, then jogs around the shelter. The cabin is too small. After 2 laps, he drops into push-ups and frog jumps. Half an hour later, the mysterious power slowly recedes. The true effect of excellent grade food is truly amazing. The improvement feels similar to the spring water, and yet this was only excellent grade, while the spring water was excellent grade. He realizes this spring water is gentler, and it actually stacks with his food. With his current fitness level, he can eat at most half a caddy of excellent grade food daily. Any more than that, and the energy might damage his body, but the spring water is different. It has no limit, meaning he can stack its boost after hitting his daily food cap. Unfortunately, drinking it repeatedly in a short window has no effect because the gentle enhancement needs time to absorb. Still, his fitness improvement will outpace anyone else under the same conditions. Suddenly, a worried bark, Big Orange, had been circling him while he was overheating. He rubs the dog's head, telling it he is fine, promising that he is getting stronger and will find more meat later. Big Orange wolfs down a full caddy of hyena meat with no visible side effects. Everything is normal. This little guy actually eats more than he does, and he wonders if the pet has grown a bit. When he caught it stealing spring water earlier, Big Orange seemed slightly larger, but he dismissed it. Now, after a full piece of meat, it is clearly a full size bigger than before. Looks like he will have to share his spring water with the pet from now on. Big Orange growls in response. The excellent grade food digests and the biting cold rushes back. He adds some firewood. His recliner is hard beneath him, reminding him of his morning aches. He definitely needs a proper bed. Recliner works for quick naps, but is terrible for a full night's sleep. He opens the exchange market and searches for sleeping items. There are over 999 pages of listings, including straw mats, sheets, pillows, quilts, and sleeping bags. Beds alone are split into wooden spring hammock, iron frames, and even water beds. The beds are not expensive, but insulated sleeping bags are pricey, and the most ridiculous quilt prices are far beyond what even wealthy buyers can afford. A 6-jean heavy quilt costs 500 wood or 200 stone. A goose down quilt runs 999 stone, and a thickened lamb wool quilt is an excellent grade item, trading only for massive amounts of food and clean water. There is certainly no shortage of lucky people. All those high-end quilts are technically common grade, dropping easily from basic iron chests. The air conditioning quilt he is currently using as a mattress came from an iron chest. That was decent luck, but compared to down or cashmere, he is far behind. He cannot afford those high-end quilts, and even if he could, he would prioritize food first anyway. He clears the search and types just bed. Over 500 pages pop up. Still a lot, but manageable. A hammock, no way Big Orange would climb up and exceed the weight limit. A round bed, he liked them back on Blue Star, but they take up too much space here. A wooden plank bed, acceptable, let him see if there is something a bit softer. There is even a trampoline. How is that even? Allowed basic beds run 20 to 60 wood, while nicer ones cost double or triple that. Then he spots a great deal, a 20-centimeter thick spring mattress for just 50 wood. It has moderate firmness, and since the system decomposes wood into neat square stakes, he can just stack 2 layers as a sturdy base. He messages the seller, trading. Cup of coconut juice, 300 milliliters in a bamboo tube. The mattress is 1.5 meters by 2 meters, basically a small double. Moving his recliner aside, he lays 8 units of wood down as a frame, drops the mattress, and puts the air conditioning quilt on top. He wraps himself in the forgin heavy quilt and happily lies down. Finally, a real sleep. Tonight, Big Orange climbs up in a flash and snuggles close. Just one trade slot is left, reserved for the brother killer, Ho Ajin. Last night, they agreed to trade 100 milliliters of spring water and 100 milliliters of purified seawater for the bone-corroding sand. The Zudge repeating crossbow plan changes. The seller hasn't replied to his message. Probably busy, he comfortably scrolls through the endless trade listings under his bed. Pure garbage, ballpoint pens and stockings. There are garbage bags, dead batteries, and electric fans, but absolutely nothing practical. He needs a real plan, so he searches for a crafting blueprint. The system chat says that once the required materials are gathered, the blueprint transforms them instantly, no more manual carving. Without a blueprint, he would have to handcraft the frame, calculating the mortise and tenon joints before assembling. With a blueprint, he just feeds it wood. Because blueprints are reusable, they usually cost more than finished products. But some stay cheap because the items are simple or have limited use. A charcoal scroll, for example, he finally finds an earthenware crafting blueprint. Common grade pottery, size depends on materials. It requires soil and water, costing 60 wood, roughly the same as the mattress. He messages the seller offering coconut juice, but they already have fresh water. They want coconut meat instead. Deal done. This blueprint comes at the perfect time. He urgently needs larger storage. Right now, he only gets 6 liters of seawater from chests daily. That is fine on paper, but it will never be enough. The high-quality tools he wants. If he had more seawater tonight, he wouldn't have settled for 2 gene of meat. Cog Gong clearly hunted more. We now shift our focus to this legendary killer's former life on the plains. Imagine a vast plain with scarce trees, thick with grazing beasts and predators. 99% of people would die here, but some are just built different. They boast absolute top-tier combat power and elite survival skills, adapting to absolutely any environment. This professional killer, Ho Ajin, was once widely known as the absolute best around. That deadly work brought him endless wealth, but also a crushing loneliness. He owned luxury homes all over the world, but had no real family. That deep emptiness followed him until he turned 29, when his first mission failed completely. The failure broke his perfect record and proved his physical peak was gone. He could claim peak condition today, but in 3 or 5 years. 5 years, no, that single failure made him want to quit, get a job and marry. But in his line of work, you don't just walk away. Especially with 194 successful kills. They would never abandon their perfect weapon, and his heavy karma would never let him walk away. Staying in one place for 2 months meant blood on his doorstep. Constant assassins would hound him until some newcomer made a name off him. Then this dangerous mist continent arrived just as he ran out of options. He actually liked it here. He could throw away his bloody history and tell anyone his secrets. To him, surviving this wild land is like retiring peacefully to the countryside. On his very first day, he mapped out the nearby beast territory. 6 wolves, a total nightmare for anyone else, but he just inspected them. 3 common and 3 elite grade. Ordinary wolves he could handle easily. But these mist wolves are entirely different beasts. The common ones are built like bulls, the elites like huge tigers. Luckily, the flame-burst great saber he found lets him easily jump a tier. In combat, he studied the pack's rules. Each hunt, 1 elite led 3 common wolves. The other elite remained at the lair as the Wolf King's guard. That afternoon, he spotted the pack returning from a fresh kill, completely off guard. He ambushed the elite gray wolf with his saber, taking it down in a single blow. The remaining 3 he dispatched with only minor injuries, but it was far from over. Wolves hold grudges. Soon, the remaining 2 elite wolves tracked his scent to his door. After a brief Clash, he realized he could not win and retreated inside, the dilapidated shelter kept the two wolves out. That night, he used his resources to upgrade his shelter, trading for some special Constitution spring water and the antibacterial seawater from an interesting trader. With these, he had a glimmer of hope against the two wolves. A plan formed. The next day, the hunting wolves were gone, forcing the Wolf King and its guard to go forage. The window was here thanks to his outstanding professional skills. The Wolf King did not notice his tracking at all. When the king let down its guard, he threw the bone-corroding sand, the exact sand he had promised to the spring water. Trader, this formidable Wolf King was completely different from the common ones. He had to take one out first or he had no chance, but plans rarely go as expected. The guard wolf lunged into the path of the sand, taking the fatal blow for the king. The corrosive sand exploded at the guard wolf's neck and burned right through. The Wolf King lost all reason and charged, set on killing the man who had cornered it, but what the king did not expect was that Ho Ajin had eaten excellent grade wolf meat the night before, boosted by the purification spring water, causing his strength to spike, though still weaker than the king. He gained the upper hand with his saber and master-level combat technique. Finally, he spotted an opening and slashed the king. The injured king regained its reason. Knew it could not win, turning to flee. Ho Ajin was enjoying this dance on the blade's edge. He could not let the prey escape, especially after wasting the bone-corroding sand he had promised to someone else. He chased the distance, closing rapidly because the wounded king fled all the way to the thick fog zone. He was incredibly close to catching up. Unwilling to give up, he pressed onward. He felt sure he could secure the kill, relying on his sense of direction, which was strong, making the short distance inside the mist no problem. He stepped in, caught the king and killed it, but the victory brought no joy as the thick mist made it nearly impossible to breathe. Even after he returned to his shelter, the lingering effects of the mist persisted. He searched for healing items and traded for several, but all were useless. In despair, he opened his chat list to find a message from that intriguing trader. "Sorry, brother killer," the incoming message read that there was a minor accident with the spring water promised for the trade, but not to worry because there would be enough by morning. Just remember to save the bone-corroding sand and juju repeating crossbow for him. Back in his cabin, he was considering the cultivation of happy sweet potatoes. The soil issue was solved, but one problem remained. Sweet potatoes are high yield and easy. He knew the planting method: cut them, coat with plant ash, and cover with a shallow layer of soil. Layer thatch for insulation, watering often to keep the soil moist. They would sprout quickly and require little maintenance, but the main problem: they need proper insulation. Sweet potatoes are tough, but they absolutely hate the cold. Even with the plant's vitality, he cannot expect them to handle the cold alone. Does he really have to wait until the brutal winter ends to even get started? Just then, a message pops up from Ho Ajin with a quick greeting. The man writes he is relieved that the young man also went back on his word. He is stunned for a second, then realizes it is about their deal. He replies strictly. He tells him he did not break his word, he simply postponed the trade. Ho Ajin agrees, admitting he was the only one who backed out. The young man sighs. He calls him a brother killer, asking how he could sell those items to someone else. He jokes about his aching heart, but Ho Ajin replies that he did not sell them. He actually used them himself. He owes him now, but might never get to repay it. If things keep going this way, he probably won't have a chance to make things right. He freezes in shock. Wait, is this really how the guy dies? Has the brother killer been gravely injured during a hunt? He immediately asks what happened. This is a deadly continent full of magical healing items, so he urges him to speak up. If he is in deep trouble, our protagonist will do his best to trade for some medicine. He tells him not to give up. After a brief silence, the other man laughs in text. He writes back he did not expect him to be so nice, but tells him not to bother. Normal healing items are completely useless now. The young man pushes for answers. He asks what kind of crazy injury could render normal medicine completely useless. To be honest, he does not want anything bad to happen to this guy. His strength is formidable, and having him as an ally could be a lifesaver later on. Plus, they have a solid relationship and a steady trade of beast meat going. Ho Ajin finally gives in. He agrees to tell him the truth as a final warning. For 30 minutes, he details everything. He describes the area around his shelter, the wolf pack, the frantic chase, and the fog. Our hero listens in silence. By the time the chase is mentioned, he already has a dark suspicion. Man has been eroded by the toxic mist. If only there was enough spring water right now. He would only need to hold on until midnight for the trade limit to refresh, saving his life. Unfortunately, the spring produces water too slowly, and it won't be ready until dawn. Getting 200 milliliters will take all night. Surviving until midnight is highly unlikely, let alone lasting until dawn. Otherwise, Huang Jie-doing wouldn't be so desperate earlier. But he has to try anyway, so he sends a quick message to Ho Ajin. He tells him not to get his hopes up, since people usually only last 3 hours. Ho Ajin gets incredibly excited, and his replies start coming in rapid fire. He asks if it is really true that spring water can cure mist erosion. He tells him to slow down and listen. Yes, it can treat it. But he does not have any right now, and has to wait 10 hours until dawn. How is the man supposed to survive that long? Yet Ho Ajin insists he can do it. The young man warns him that this is not a game, he cannot just wish his way through. But the other man remains stubborn. After a few silent seconds, the truth suddenly clicks for him. He asks if he has a special item to keep himself alive. Ho Ajin is thoroughly impressed. He sends over the item details. It is an excellent grade item called Vampire Essence. It is condensed from the blood of a legendary race with undying abilities. Once applied to the chest, it grants the user some of those legendary vampire traits. This grants them a completely undead body for the next 24 hours. He writes back, confessing he only ever expected to survive 1 day at a time. He never expected a real way out, completely stunned by this life-saving divine tool. It is not just for saving lives, but also for risking them. The weak fear the aggressive fear the reckless, and the reckless fear those who have nothing left. Talk about a high-stakes gamble. Playing with your own life is completely next level. Who would not be terrified of someone like that? Ho Ajin certainly did not expect this. He only sees the sudden silence on the other end, as a professional killer. He quickly regains his cool. The value of that spring water is already sky-high. In this desperate situation, no matter what our protagonist demands, the killer has zero leverage. He is in a massive bind, forced by the mist to use his trading slots. He spent them on healing items and 1 excellent grade vampire essence. With his skills, he could easily gather precious resources, but it has only been 2 days. After a tense silence, he writes back, "Brother, I am practically broke right now. But tomorrow is a new day. Just save that spring water for me. I will scavenge resources to trade, and no matter what I find tomorrow. This flame-burst great saber is yours." These words snap our protagonist out of his thoughts. The killer thinks the silence means he is hiking up the price, so he writes back, "What are you saying, brother?" Since he offered the water to save his life. It means he truly hopes he survives. He tells him to keep the weapon. It would be a lie to say he does not want it, but it belongs with him. It can only reach its true potential in his hands. Ho Ajin falls silent. He finally replies, stating they are both men, so he will keep it brief. "Thank you." The killer had been fully prepared to surrender every single asset he owned to him. Years in the dark zones had exposed him to the worst of humanity, making him indifferent. He locked his heart away, fearing emotional ties would only get people killed. He kept himself completely isolated, but this sudden kindness catches him completely off guard. For the first time in his 10-plus years in the assassin industry, he sees a genuine spark of humanity out here in the mysterious mist. 2 shelters thousands of miles apart forge their very first real bond. He writes back, "From now on, my life is yours. Take it whenever you need." Our protagonist replies, "I accept your thanks, but keep your life." Yet the killer insists. He insists he is deadly serious. Our hero tells him to stop being so mushy. From now on, they will cooperate and survive. The killer agrees wholeheartedly. Everything he owns is now his. He turns and pats Big Orange on the head. It looks like they will not be short of meat anymore, and yep, the cat is thrilled. He perked up the instant he heard meat, did he not? To him, purification spring water is not precious at all. It is mass-producible, so he refuses to gouge people. Of course, that mercy does not extend to total strangers with zero connection. Before finishing the trade, he has one final tip to share. Ho Ajin has only been active at the fog's edge and has never gone deep inside. He has no idea about the fog breaker totem, so he tells him to take advantage of his undead body tomorrow to enter the mist and grab the rewards. The totem's reward is scaled directly to the survivor's current overall progress. Given his broke state, an S grade is tough, but an A grade is easily doable. He advises him to aim for the absolute best. Besides, the killer has the skills. He does not lack ability. Without that accident, his progress would have gone much further. Further than anyone, he wiped out an entire wolf pack as a mere mortal in just 2 days. With combat power like that, nobody can easily defeat him. Even knowing stronger fighters exist, he warns him not to rush the raiding. He should really use that undead body to slaughter nearby beasts first. Gathering resources comes first, then the totem. After finishing the chat with Ho Ajin, he quietly checks the trade postings on the world chat to see what is available. Even with his daily quota gone, he can scout practical items for tomorrow. Unless an emergency happens, he avoids using purification spring water for currency. Although he can mass produce it, he only gets 300 milliliters per day. And most special effects require over 50 milliliters per use, both he and Big Orange need a fixed 100 milliliters daily, and if Ho Ajin can really provide meat long-term, sharing 50 with him is the smart move. The remaining 150 must be saved for emergencies. Otherwise, if he accidentally enters a thick fog zone, he lacks a second vial of vampire essence to save. His life, after expanding his territory, he found a few new coconut trees by the sea. While fetching water, but the quantity is small, the only resource he has in large quantities to trade is elite-grade purification seawater. Its value is incredibly high. The anti-inflammatory and antibacterial effects are clear, out on the mist continent, regardless of whether beasts lurk nearby, injury is unavoidable. Everyone must perform heavy manual labor, chopping or mining, so almost no one can go without purification seawater. The only drawback is slow consumption, which makes long-term trade for fixed resources difficult. He looks through trade info and finds one very interesting piece, a constant temperature planting box. Elite grade, crafted from special materials, maintaining internal temperature and slightly accelerating plant growth. Sweet potato cultivation. Seems perfect, but after a private chat, the box is only 1 cubic meter. The sweet potatoes mature over half a meter long, meaning it only holds 1. Although sweet potatoes can be cut, his single crop divides into at least 20 seeds. So 1 box is a drop in the bucket. He gives up as 3 hours crawl by. The night remains long. Wrapping himself in the quilt, he lies down and falls asleep. Suddenly, freezing cold wakes him up in a daze. The fire has gone out. Only faint sparks remain. The night is unbearable, the cabin turning into a refrigerator. While the forecast only showed daytime temperatures, indoors has plummeted well below zero. His level 2 wooden boards are seamless but offer no insulation, and under just a thin cotton quilt, he is left shivering. He rises to relight the fire and moves around until his body temperature finally returns. Big Orange is sleeping soundly at his feet, its warm body keeping his toes from freezing. Twice more he wakes up shivering and adds more firewood, even after 10 plus hours in bed. His sleep quality is incredibly poor, with 0 deep sleep. He even develops a slight fever, but the spring water luckily regulates his body. He wonders how survivors without warm gear even manage to survive, being in the top 1% with his fog breaker totem. This cold is still tricky. Hours before dawn, he makes breakfast, placing 400 grams of leftover meat on the fireplace. The frozen meat slowly softens under the heat. Big Orange wakes up, watching hungrily. He squats by the bed, watching the tiger eyeing the meat, calling it a total glutton. It slept through the freezing cold, but woke up once he started cooking. The beast barks happily in response, demanding some meat. There is a portion saved for it, though he wonders when it will finally grow up. He is counting on Big Orange to help him dominate the future battlefield. But the creature has a massive appetite. 2 pieces of hyena meat from Seo Jagang are gone. That food would have lasted him days alone, but Big Orange finished it in 1 night. The system announcement warned that native creature activity will spike today. He wonders if he should take Big Orange out to test its strength. It is still a juvenile common grade beast, but already the size of a hunting dog. If a regular dog can hunt at this size, a saber-toothed tiger should be far deadlier. He has no idea about its combat power, only its sheer strength. Last night, the tiger easily slipped his grip when he tried messing with its fur. And remember, his own body is already way stronger than any normal human. He has been boosted by elite-grade hyena meat and 2 days of spring water. Yet to a beast like Big Orange, his enhanced human strength is practically nothing. Once the meat is roasted, he takes a small quarter and gives the rest to his pet. The cub devours it, growing noticeably larger right before his very eyes. After finishing his portion, the familiar heat kicks in, prompting him to start moving. He fires through push-ups to absorb the surge, then continues training at a lighter pace. That system alert put pressure on him as creatures grow active. He decides to push through multiple exhausting training sessions every single day from now on. The weather forecast predicts -3 to 5 degrees Celsius with a 10 a.m. sunrise. Daylight lasts only 6 hours, and a bitter winter is closing in fast. He needs to seize this good weather to gather food and cold-resistant supplies. With only 6 hours of daylight, he stands at his cabin door, feeling the wind. Gritting his teeth, he slips on his trench coat and steps outside into the cold. First, he takes 2 boxes of seawater, meant for his main business partner. After trading twice with Wang Igson, he has successfully built initial trust. They agreed he could borrow the spatial backpack starting this very morning. The transaction will be handled safely through the friend gifting feature. This clever bypass ensures it does not affect their once-a-day trade limit. He gifts Wang Igson 2 boxes of purified seawater first as a collateral deposit. That way, even if he ran off with the bag, the other guy loses nothing. In the end, those 2 boxes will simply serve as final payment. While his magic bead purifies the water, he begins digging up soil. He wants to use his pottery blueprint to craft as many utensils as possible. 30 minutes later, he secures the spatial backpack and fills it with soil. He heads for the beach since both clay and water are ready now. With a simple thought, the crafting blueprint glows with a soft white light. Materials wrapped in the glow rapidly take shape and solidify before his eyes. This time, he produces a 50-liter water vat and 2 clay pots for cooking. He also creates several bowls, dishes, and cups to complete his kitchen set. After filling the vat with seawater, he stuffs it back into his spatial backpack. He grabs 6 fresh coconuts along the beach before heading back to the shelter. That was easy. The spatial backpack is incredibly useful if he had to carry everything by hand. He would have worked himself to death for 2 days straight without finishing. But with this magical pack, it takes just over an hour. There is still time left before his scheduled meeting, so he decides to move some elite-grade soil he found near the bamboo forest yesterday, after almost an hour of digging, even with his enhanced body. His hands on the pickaxe are chafed and blistered, but it is worth it. The farming plot outside his cabin is now piled high with rich leaf mold. The temperature problem for planting remains unsolved, but a solution must exist. Among the strange items in this bizarre survival world, soon the backpack time expires. Gritting his teeth, he returns the valuable item. Suddenly, his communicator buzzes. It is Ajin, whom he contacted before dawn regarding the surplus spring water. He replied there was no rush, wanting to use an undead body to hunt beasts first. So he can trade some meat too. Xiang Rang notes that the system announcement was absolutely right, with a massive number of beasts roaming today. Already he has taken down 4 elite-grade beasts. Brother Killer is truly awesome, he messages back. He is genuinely shocked, since hunting like that with a basic undead body seems impossible. He could never reach that level in 3 hours. For him, the undead body would just be a legendary punching bag. Ajin laughs, saying his harvest was great, and he is about to enter the dense fog zone for the totem. All right, he texts back. As long as he is confident in an S rank, they trade immediately. They conduct their first trade of the day, sending 200 milliliters of spring water and fog-piercing goggles. In return, Brother Killer sends 2 elite-grade meat steaks and a massive repeating crossbow. He explains that since the evaluation is starting soon, he must quickly send over these 2 pieces of meat now, promising more after receiving the rewards. The meat is plenty, so they should not waste trade slots. His friend agrees, though he still grumbles about the lack of a simple gifting system, wondering if reaching level 3 will unlock new friend slots. Inspecting the heavy repeating crossbow, he simply cannot put it down. Earlier, he had encountered a flock of wild chickens while collecting rich leaf mold near the bamboo forest. Lacking a proper weapon, he had resisted the urge to attack. Fighting up close with an iron pickaxe was possible, but he would likely get badly injured and might not even win. Those wild chickens are definitely no joke, only common grade but 3 times the size of a normal rooster, with stone-hard beaks and razor-sharp claws. Definitely not monsters to mess with, but now the lethal crossbow drops his risk dramatically. This elite-grade weapon boasts deadly power past 100 meters. He was an archery enthusiast back on Blue Star, and the monthly archery club was his main escape. While his aim is reliable, a traditional bow and a crossbow are completely different. He needs to get familiar with this machine quickly, since daylight is limited training. A simple 30 minutes practicing around the shelter proves his skills are sharp. Time to call his backup Big Orange, telling the tiger it is finally time to hunt. Man and tiger march together toward the nesting grounds, close to their target, Big Orange instantly senses the dangerous prey, snapping right into a lethal hunting posture. Each hind paw lands perfectly in the footprints of his front paws, crouching low. In the tall grass, the tiger moves without making a single sound, flawless feline instincts. Inspired by his wild companion, he mimics the crouch, finding it surprisingly effective. He manages to reach the 100-meter mark without alerting the flock, but what he doesn't realize is that his amateur stealth was spotted long ago. The birds simply do not see him as a threat. They crossed paths earlier when he was digging. Leaf mold staying perfectly peaceful, so now they just ignore his approach. 100 meters is his accuracy limit. Wanting to close the gap, he bends low and creeps closer. 80 meters, 70, 60. At 50 meters, the nearest chicken casually walks away, continuing its bug hunt. He closes in, it walks. He gets closer, it keeps walking. Could he have been spotted? The realization hits. What he thought was perfect. Camouflage looks like an absolute joke to these chickens. His face flushes red even with no one around. It is just so embarrassing, since they look down on him. He silently warns them, do not blame him for being ruthless. Take these 5 arrows. To guarantee the kill, he fires all at once. 5 sharp whistles ring out. Instantly 3 miss, but 1 hits the body and another strikes the neck. He actually aimed for the head, but the result is the same. The elite-grade bolt punches right through the neck, pinning itself deep into the ground. Suddenly, the wild chicken lets out a mournful cry and collapses. He laughs, feeling like a natural-born hunter. He steps forward to claim the loot, but right then, everything goes dead silent. The rustling of 30 or 40 wild chickens hunting for bugs stops instantly. Every single one of them raises its head to stare. 2 seconds later, they launch a coordinated charge. What in the world are these even chickens? Normally the flock would scatter after a kill, not swarm like monsters. Big Orange. It is time to run. 40 wild chickens would overwhelm even a powerhouse like Hyo Ajin, let alone them, but Big Orange, who was hiding, springs forward like a streak of lightning. A quick swipe knocks a chicken flat, then with a swift bite to the neck, it is over. Instantly, the other chickens freeze in their tracks, staring at the terrifying predator. Big Orange, still pinning his prey, senses their hesitation. A massive tiger roar erupts, sending the flock scrambling. Absolute panic. The 2 common-grade wild chickens yield just over a pound of meat in total. Strangely, one of the targets fails to drop a single missed bead. It seems strength dictates the drops, since these beads condense directly from raw vitality. Standard chicken lacks the mass and raw power to condense a full energy bead. On the bright side, they did leave behind 2 iron chests, which he opens immediately. Inside each is a single item. The first is a set of casual men's clothing. At least he has a change of clothes. The second is a common short knife, which he plans to use for cooking. Overall, pretty mediocre, just 2 common tier beasts. So a massive haul was never expected. These monster chest drops are way shabbier than system rewards, likely tied directly to prey strength. Brother Killer secured elite gear on day 1 because he hunted a wolf. Between a wolf and a chicken, there is a massive power gap. Big Orange really surprises him. He expected the cub to just be a cute mascot, but today's performance completely outclassed his own. He pats the tiger's head, promising a grilled elite meat cutlet for dinner. Big Orange purrs happily. Daylight is fading fast, and today is another day with 0 wood chopped. Fortunately, his major backer is carrying him, or upgrading to level 3 on his own would take forever. He has never felt like daytime was so terribly short. Back on Blue Star, he planned to chop wood yesterday but moved soil instead. Today is for pottery and hunting. He spots several elite-grade trees growing in the leaf mold area, originally common grade fir, likely upgraded by the nourishment of the soil. Only 40 minutes left until nightfall. Starting any major task is risky, but he refuses to waste time. Why not explore behind the shelter? Since reaching level 2, he has not ventured back there. Completely unknown territory. His position is left of the Cabin, he packs the spoils into an empty chest and plans a semicircular detour. To the back before returning, man and tiger unhurriedly search for resources. They discover a peanut field with white-skinned peanuts of common grade. Nutritious plant packed with high-quality protein, high in calories and oil, a great choice. For eating, providing moderate fullness, peanuts can be eaten directly or pressed. For oil and ground into powder for seasoning, making them incredibly versatile. The field is small, just a dozen plants, even with massive plant sizes on this continent, collecting all of them would only yield 10 caddies. No issue, as he has a large rotting leaf. Soil patch, some will be eaten, others saved for planting. He notes the location and continues on. Just when he thinks the exploration for today is done, he finds a large patch of berries directly behind the shelter. He picks two and tastes them. They are similar to plums in shape and sweet, sour taste, quite refreshing. The berries are abundant, though they will not keep long due to high water content, maybe 5 or 6 days in the cold, but at least there is plenty of fruit. His shelter location is actually quite good. He used to envy survivors near rivers or farmland. After a few days, his spawn point proves to be excellent. Coconut trees and sea water in front. Elite grade wood and soil to the left, peanuts and fruit behind. All basic needs are met, but as the sky darkens, eerie, unknown roars echo through the distant fog. Big orange tenses growling low, they bolt for the shelter. Wild beasts are active even during the day, making the night terrifying. He makes it back before total darkness. First, the fire. As the flame lights up the cabin, his tense body relaxes. He must be far more cautious from now on. Daytime is precious, but he cannot cut it this close. Safety comes first. He pours cool, sweet coconut juice down his throat, feeling immediately refreshed. For dinner, he takes chicken meat from the chest, dropping it into an earthenware pot, adding elite-grade purified seawater, then covers it and places it in the fireplace to simmer. Things are looking up. He is having chicken soup on the mist continent, and his mouth is watering. It has been so many days without normal food. The elite-grade hyena meat from last night was good, but only pan fried on a stone slab, fragrant but lacking. Today is different, authentic wild chicken soup. It is pure deliciousness even without any salt. Suddenly, a private message lands. He expects the brother killer or a big financier, but it is someone completely unexpected. Huang Jidong. He asks whether our survivor has any elite-grade wood or stone, offering to trade iron. He sits up straight, upgrading to level 3. Needs 200 wood and 200 stone. Not hard for some lucky ones. Wang Yin, with the excellent grade axe and spatial backpack, can gather those resources in half a day. The only reason he has not upgraded yet is iron. He asked the brother killer, but unfortunately, there were no traces of iron near him either. Iron is extremely scarce, let alone for the 3 of them. He has not seen anyone trading it in the chat. Surprised by the inquiry from Huang Jidong, he can only sigh, realizing this is someone who truly dares to. Entering the thick fog on the first morning, he messages that he has elite-grade wood and stone. He asks about the trade terms. The man writes back, offering 5 wood for 1 iron. That is 1 iron for 5 elite wood and 1 for 3 stone. Way too expensive, he replies. Sure, iron is scarce, but it is just common grade. His own wood, however, is elite. He guesses that Huang Jidong is getting ready to upgrade his shelter to level 3. A level 3 shelter built with high-grade elite materials is incredibly secure. Its defense alone would easily surpass any shelter made of common-grade resources. He marvels at the grand plan, while he had considered doing the same. Using elite materials for a level 3 upgrade was still just a distant idea. Yet Huang Jidong is already doing it and is nearly finished. The man messages back. He claims the price is fair, arguing that iron is priceless right now. And while elite materials are rare, others are still selling them. After a brief pause, he agrees to the deal, but explains he does not have the materials on hand. Asking how much is needed, Huang Jidong requests 150 stone and 100 wood. He adds that the trade must close by tomorrow night. He replies that tomorrow is fine. But the quantity is too small. At that rate, he would only get 70 iron. That is not enough to be useful. Huang Jidong replies that is all he needs. He messages back, asking if these resources are solely for the upgrade. Surely there will be new construction after. Is he planning to build with common stuff? And honestly, that simple question completely silences him. He totally overlooked it. Man is not short-sighted. Anyone upgrading their shelter now is highly capable. He was just laser-focused on the upgrade and budgeting his resources. He wanted maximum efficiency, which made him trade only for his immediate needs. Huang Jidan agrees to offer another 100 iron, bringing the total to 170. But he demands a guaranteed minimum of 150 stone and 100 wood. He confirms the deal, promising to get in touch at this time tomorrow night. Next, he immediately messages Wang Xenon, the big financier. He asks about today's battle and wonders how much granite he mined. The reply comes fast, mentioning a spatial backpack. Having mined diligently all day, Wang Xenon managed to gather over 900 pieces. Honestly, that is incredibly impressive. He messages back, praising his partner's amazing work. Wang Xenon plays it down, asking what he needs, offering to trade for elite seawater. Earlier, he had traded 2 boxes of purified seawater to borrow the backpack. In reality, Wang Xenon is not low on water at all. This trade offer is just a polite return gesture, proving his character is genuinely good. At the very least, he will not abandon partners once he gets his share. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in a tiny cabin, Wang Xenon is eating. He chews on some compressed biscuits while drinking his purified seawater. Wondering why his friend is taking so long to reply, his communicator finally buzzes. The moment he reads the new message, he sprays water all over the floor. He needs at least 650 stones. Huang Jidan needs 100 wood, which nets 20 iron. The remaining trade for 150 iron. Demands 450 stones. Adding 200 for his own upgrade makes 650. A few extra would help for later building. Wang Xenon messages back. He begs him not to play jokes, but the reply comes back completely serious. In fact, it would be best to have even more, leaving Wang Xenon totally shocked. 200 stones, what could he possibly need so many for? Right then, Wang Ixin even suspects if the guy is trying to flee him. Forget it, he writes, he does not care what his friend is doing, but they need to get this straight first. He can trade 500 stones for purified seawater, but the rest will have to be traded for other things. He knows 500 for seawater is actually great. Wang Ixin already has 2 crates of seawater. Using it as an anti-inflammatory would last him a long time. The resource already has way more utility than he actually needs. Of course, he could take the seawater to trade with others, but the market for excellent grade stone is just as good as seawater. No need for the extra step. Deal, he writes. That means 5 liters of seawater for 500 stones and 100 milliliters of excellent grade purification spring water for 300 stones, 800 in total, calling him Big Brother. He writes back, amazed that he is even willing to trade excellent grade spring water. It cannot be helped, he writes. He has a massive gap to fill. He had not wanted to trade spring water again. The effects are too huge. It stacks with food to enhance constitution, regulating the body to treat colds and fevers. It resolves residual mist effects. Honestly, 80% of his current survival progress comes directly from this magic spring water. Wang Ixin does not know whether to be happy or helpless. He really wants that spring water, but if he gives up 800 stones, he has absolutely nothing left to trade today. Not a big problem, our hero writes. Let us do this in 2 batches. He does not even have enough spring water right now. 500 for seawater first, the rest tomorrow. It is a light at the end of the tunnel. Wang Ixin writes that he is his true savior. After finalizing things with Wang Ixin, the hot chicken soup is almost done. Time to gain some strength. 2. He takes out the excellent grade meat cutlet from Brother Killer. 1 jin of meat. He cuts off a 5th for himself and tosses the rest to Big Orange. Habit puts his portion right on the fireplace to sear. Unexpectedly, Big Orange strolls over with its portion in its mouth and rubs vigorously against him. He asks if it wants its meat seared too. The tiger makes a happy noise. He had no idea it was such a civilized tiger. After eating his leftover meat cutlet this morning, Big Orange immediately felt it was much more delicious than the raw stuff from last night. As a smart beast, it figured out the secret was the fireplace processing. Although its human servant's hunting skills are complete trash, he definitely has a way with food, so Big Orange decided that its portion from now on must be processed by him first, after the human and the tiger finish their cutlets. Big Orange lies down to rest, while our hero burns off the energy surge. Again, Big Orange cannot understand what his human is doing, even if the food tastes good, but does he really have to jump and bounce all over the place? Half an hour later, the massive energy surge finally metabolizes, although he does not feel hungry because his whole body is buzzing with energy. He cannot wait to take the chicken soup right out of the fireplace. A thick, fresh aroma fills the cabin. He uses a ceramic spoon, blowing gently on it. One mouthful goes down, fresh and absolutely delicious. Even the biting cold around him seems pushed back a bit. After several more gulps, he sighs. This chicken tastes incredibly rich. Too bad he does not have any friend slots left, otherwise he could send some to Brother Killer. While drinking, he browses the exchange. He needs gold, a clear crystal, and an excellent axe or saw. He only has common. An ordinary iron saw is useless against excellent grade cedar. The blade would dull out after just a few trees. It is too laborious. Tomorrow he plans to spend the whole day cutting cedar. He does not expect top-tier tools like the ones owned by wealthy elites, but he still needs an excellent grade tool. Scrolling through the market, he finds axes, saws, and billhooks, alongside some strange items like a dead chainsaw and a diesel saw with only a single tank of fuel. He is highly tempted by that diesel saw despite its limits. It is fully automatic, but the price of 500 stones is way too steep. A standard excellent grade axe costs around 350 stones. A diesel tool is fast but won't last, and for a man lacking stamina is the absolute worst. After some hesitation, he chooses an excellent grade cleaver saw instead. The price is 50 excellent grade stones, which he can easily afford. Without any negotiating, this heavy steel cleaver saw is forged from high quality steel. It is dual purpose, featuring a sharp saw blade and a heavy cleaver. He can choose his method based on the tree's thickness. He is highly satisfied. The blade stretches 1.2 meters and can even double as a weapon in a pinch. Following the trade, he is left with only a single transaction limit. He decides to check the regional chat to see how other survivors are holding up. They brag about pulling an excellent grade item from a simple bronze chest. Others immediately complain, demanding to know where anyone is finding these chests. Apart from the system's guaranteed chest, most have not even spotted a basic iron one. One unfortunate soul laments that their bronze chest only yielded common junk, leaving them devastated. But others ask for details. Anything that preserves warmth is a massive win right now. The cold is worsening rapidly. One guy fell into a puddle and nearly froze to death. He barely survived by trading for hot, excellent grade ginger soup. Another survivor jumps in, complaining that they could not catch a single wink of sleep last night. When asked why, they reveal they actually slept like a baby, completely warm and cozy. They had a thick cashmere quilt, prompting everyone to instantly blacklist them. Closing the window, Ho Ajin admires their resilience. Every survivor in this world is isolated in a dark corner, facing relentless cold, terror, and absolute loneliness. The regional chat remains their only escape to relieve this overwhelming pressure. Exhausted, Ho Ajin stumbles back toward his temporary wooden shelter. Even equipped with fog-piercing goggles and an undead physique, he nearly perished today. The dense fog almost claimed him. His left forearm is completely gone. Crimson blood gushes violently from the jagged wound. Yet a strange pulse of red energy begins sewing the flesh back together. The lost limb slowly regenerates, but the process drains his vital energy. As his arm reforms, Ho Ajin grows terrifyingly thin. His once muscular frame shrivels, his cheeks sinking in like a living corpse. The active vampire essence only has about 2 hours left to run. That should be just enough time. Gritting his teeth, Ho Ajin pulls out some raw meat. Without bothering to cook, he devours the entire pound of premium meat. As it hits his stomach, his emaciated frame slowly begins to fill back out. The regeneration at his wrist speeds up, letting him breathe a quiet sigh of relief. His control over his own physiology is flawless, operating with the precision of a machine. He knows the food cap on the Mist Continent is about 150 grams. Any more and his energy will overload. Now, it is time to purge the mist inside. The vampire essence maintains his basic functions, but once his undead state wears off, the mist left in his chest will kill him. He pulls out the spring water. He slowly drinks the spring water, a faint smile playing on his lips. He really has to thank Shengrang. Without it, he would have died here. He opens his communicator and finds our protagonist has already messaged him. It says, "Hey brother killer, look at this chicken soup. Wild free-range forest chicken, incredibly delicious. Too bad they are not friends." Meaning he cannot send it, so Ajin misses this treat. A picture is attached. It shows large chunks of chicken and steaming golden soup in a clay pot. He shakes his head and laughs. Ajin clicks on the photo again. unconsciously swallowing his saliva. Meanwhile, inside his island cabin, our protagonist holds his repeating crossbow, practicing his aim, because of his morning hunt. One bolt flew off to who knows where, leaving only 9 left. Thinking about his last trading opportunity, he checked the exchange earlier. Ordinary bolts cost 1 stone each, while the excellent ones, grade bolts, cost 10 times that, 1 bolt for 10 stones. Suddenly, private message arrives. He pulls a bolt lodged deep in the wood, setting it aside to check his communicator. Hey Ajin, you sent that picture on purpose to make me jealous, he writes. Ajin replies, if you wanted chicken soup you can trade for it. Our protagonist smiles and types back, what are you saying? He was just afraid of wasting your limit. With a playful doge face, truth is, our protagonist has nothing he urgently needs. Even the bolts are not a priority, though Ajin spent a lot yesterday on missed solutions and needs to be careful. Ajin writes back, I do not mind. I had a bumper harvest today. Our protagonist's eyes light up. Ajin got an S-rank evaluation for the Mistbreaker totem. What did he get? After a long pause, he sees Ajin typing repeatedly, wondering what the hell the killer is doing, writing an essay. Finally, Ajin sends a single letter and a symbol S+. Our protagonist realizes Ajin was just finding a way to show off, clearing a tear he missed. Ajin writes back, this humble one is unlearned, and truly did not know how to brag, so he simply had to state the facts in a plain way. Blocked, our protagonist writes. Ajin begs him not to, adding he prepared a gift. He says he almost died for this gift. Save it, our protagonist writes back. Do not think he does not know about Ajin's undead body active today. It is only relative immortality, not absolute. Our protagonist gets serious, asking what happened. Ajin explains that the undead body consumes energy within his own body to repair injuries and maintain vital signs, but if the severity of the injury exceeds his limits, even that power cannot save him, so he asks if Ajin means the law of conservation of energy, a game item following science. Ajin agrees, writing that he was rampaging through the thick fog zone today. Just when he thought he was invincible, he ran into a tough customer. First, Ajin found an excellent grade fruit on a large tree. He immediately wondered if this was the classic fortuitous encounter of a protagonist. But he absolutely refused to make any impulsive moves, choosing to carefully observe the situation first. When he checked, the system identified the massive tree producing the fruit. It was actually a tree demon, and anything growing excellent grade fruit had to be dangerous. So he messaged Heo Ajin, asking if he actually went up and fought it. Asking if he won, Heo Ajin immediately responds, asking what he was thinking. There was absolutely no way to win, but he hoped his undead body would give him a chance. Since the tree demon could not move, he wanted to snatch the fruit and run. He managed to pluck the prize, but he completely underestimated its raw combat power. Every single branch lashed out like a massive python, instantly smashing half his body to pieces. His remaining internal energy was far too low for his undead physique to repair such damage. Fortunately, he still had a horde of excellent grade beast meat on him. By rapidly consuming and absorbing the rich energy from those foods, he barely saved himself. Hearing this wild story leaves our protagonist completely silent, but not just from the terrifying power. It is the nature of the tree demon itself that truly shocks him. He slowly lowers his head, whispering that a terrifying creature far beyond comprehension has finally appeared. He had already suspected that the entire Miscontinent was incredibly bizarre. Not only did powerful beasts live there, but all sorts of impossible entities existed. But guessing is one thing, and facing the actual reality is far worse. When that terrifying reality finally stares him right in the face, a heavy gloom fills him. Survival is already brutally difficult. Hundreds of millions of humans are currently struggling to eat or stay warm, yet this is just the beginning. Heo Ajin on the other side seems to sense his shifting emotions. The creatures of the Miscontinent are indeed powerful, Ajin messages, but there are also many items and tools that can boost our strength. We can even assimilate the power of these local monsters for our own use. Take this fruit, which he risked danger to pluck because he wanted to cultivate a powerful beast just like that tree demon. He replies with a smile, telling his friend not to worry as brother killer is not easily discouraged. By the way, can this fruit be grown? Was the gift mentioned earlier actually this very item? That is exactly right. Heo Ajin messages back, promising to send over the details. He wants our protagonist to see for himself why it is perfect for him. perfectly suitable for him. It is an excellent grade evergreen tree demon fruit. Magical creation born with self-awareness that cannot be definitively classified as a plant or animal. After eating this fruit, it can clear away bodily impurities and fundamentally upgrade human genes. Note: this rare fruit can also be used for cultivation. The evergreen tree demon is completely different from common plants, using pure water as its primary nutrient source. If there is enough high-quality water, it can theoretically grow infinitely. Powerful, his immediate reaction is that eating it purges impurities and upgrades human genes. He does not fully understand genetic improvement, but that does not matter. Since he only has one, he won't eat it directly. Second, cultivation is practically tailor-made for him. As long as there is enough water, it grows infinitely. Infinite growth could he potentially feed dozens of tons of purified seawater to this evergreen tree demon seed and directly cultivate an excellent grade or even excellent rank powerhouse in no time. He messages Heo Ajin, asking if this incredibly rare fruit is really meant for him. He replies it is no exaggeration, as this tool is exceptionally high quality. It easily outperforms Big Orange in every way, prompting the beast to glare at him. Heo Ajin replies that this rare item can only unleash its true power when held in his hands, adding that a life is worth far more. He asks if an item could outweigh a human life, and our hero agrees completely. But Heo Ajin jokes that this artifact is definitely worth more than his life. A massive question mark pops up as he wishes he could tackle his buddy. Instead, he laughs it off, mentioning the warm chicken soup waiting for him. The food is waiting on the fireplace, proving they are like real brothers. As the trade finishes, he receives the rare fruit and 2 gin of elite meat. His judgment was spot on because Heo Ajin is proving to be a stellar ally. Gifting this rare tree demon fruit so freely shows real trust between them. Heo Ajin clearly considers him a brother, even offering more elite meat if needed. He happily agrees to the trade, though a hilarious thought suddenly crosses his mind. His friend clearly has no idea how much food Big Orange actually devours. Since he knows nothing of the beast, he thinks his gift is incredibly massive. He assumes those 4 gin of meat will easily last 10+ days. Still, he resolves to share his fresh spring water. Poor Homestead Spring. Ever since those initial 300 milliliters, it has remained completely dry. Every single drop is stolen, and now he is deeply in debt. Regardless, he asks Brother Killer what rewards he got from the totem. Excellent items are powerful. Naturally, his burning curiosity completely takes over. Gathering crucial intel on this mysterious mist continent is his top priority. Heo Ajin tells him to guess the quality of the item first. Asking jokingly if it is excellent rank, he begs for a carry. Keep dreaming, Heo Ajin replies, because excellent rank gear is incredibly rare. Even with an S+ rank, the drop rates are painfully low. The chance hovers around 1 to 2%, but special items are different. Their rates are 9 to 18%, which is a massive statistical jump. When he guesses it is a special item, Heo Ajin reveals he got 2. Honestly, pulling off a double drop like that is pure, unadulterated luck. Heo Ajin proudly celebrates his incredible fortune before sending over the exact item details. It is a diluted vampire bloodline, a potion infused with vampire genetic material. Injecting this serum allows a survivor to gain some legendary vampire traits. But there is a massive catch, as survivors can only use one bloodline. This crucial info reveals so much more about the mysterious mist continent. Survivors do not just grow stronger from food, they can rewrite their bodies. While other advancement methods remain a mystery, this path is incredibly powerful. In fact, Heo Ajin already shared a bizarre connection with these dark creatures. Survival meant relying on vampire essence just to keep himself breathing. Now his achievement rewards him with the exact same bloodline that saved him. It almost makes him suspect some hidden force is guiding their evolution. Regardless, this special item is an absolute masterpiece. This combination of his could be said to be a perfect match, his own exceptional combat skills combined with vampire recovery. The resulting combat boost is not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2, of course, Big Orange being a special grade. Companion is not bad either. In gaming terms, Heo Ajin is the combat type while she is the cultivation type, but wait, she types back, asking about another reward. He mentioned 2 special Items, wait, what is wrong? Is the other item actually the sunflower manual? Why be so hesitant? Hard to say, that is not it, he writes back. He just has no idea what the item is used for. He tells her to just see for herself. Naturally, she is curious. Could there actually be items he has no clue how to use? Because of the system, almost every single item on the Mist Continent has clear instructions, or at the very least, a basic description of its functional purpose. Wait, there is one type of item that has no instructions at all. Many people know of it, but its true purpose remains entirely unknown. Could it really be